Your morning just got more interesting. Distilled and barrel-picked for your listening pleasure. Bo Bishop, a local sports media legend. What William T. Sherman was to the Union Army, he is to Northern college football. A husband, a father, and middling youth sports coach. He's friends with Central Ohio sporting royalty.
I'm talking to Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjorken. Coach Day walking on with us right now. Good to see you, buddy. Good buddy Austin Ward. My good buddy Tim May, the Tim May Show. The great Doug Lavery's joining us.
Hi, everybody. Dom Tiberi here.
Oh, Reese came in and he handed me papers.
Yeah,
and then he said, "You see that button? That's the only button you need to worry about. Don't touch. There's 8,000 buttons in front of me." Oh, I didn't know what he was talking about.
The one that says on.
We blew the budget on this imaging, and only two guys answered our ad on Craigslist. Ryan Baker and Eric Reeser. Act accordingly. You're now listening to Bishop and Friends.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years.
It's an audio medium, so I'm going to have to explain what I'm doing, but jazz hands to start the show on a Monday, post 4th of July weekend. I just want to check everybody, make sure we're back from a 4th of July holiday weekend with all of our digits. Hopefully for you and yours, it was a safe, it was a wonderful, it was a well-hydrated 4th of July weekend. Eric Reeser, Ryan Baker, Jacob Reimer, rolling along with you on this Monday. How we doing, boys? We still intact with all of our digits?
I got all 10 here. I even took my shoes off this morning. I got all 10
That's
down
good.
there. So we're good with that. Yeah, it's I got to tell you, Reese, it was a weird weekend for me because I didn't have a lot on the docket, and we didn't work Friday, obviously, and that was really weird for me because I'm usually working somewhere at least a little bit or at least a part of the day. So it was enjoyable. It was nice, but I need someone to tell me what I'm supposed to do.
Enjoy
on a day
it.
off like that.
Did you enjoy your Friday off?
I did. It was nice. I didn't do a lot. Went over and saw some friends, hung out at the pool. So that was good. But yeah, it was a weird feeling.
I don't know if I've made it known on this program, but I'm a big fan of parades. So doing two of them in one day on Friday was the start of a really great 4th of July weekend. Feeling rested, feeling well energized for this week. We will be starting our 20 most interesting college football program series as we are less than a month out from Ohio State's fall training camp, which we will be at. And we'll lead up to that, give you our 20 most interesting college football programs. Today's an interesting one. It's the Red Raiders of Texas Tech. And as we go through teams this week, just as we're booking guests, as we're trying to find who would give us the best perspective to respective schools in the Big 12, in the ACC, in the SEC, and in the Big 10, I was reminded that it's Media Days season, as the Big 12 Media Days start tomorrow at the Dallas Cowboys headquarters in Frisco, Texas. The next week, you've got SEC Media Days going from the 14th through the 17th. They're doing that in Atlanta at the College Football Hall of Fame. And then in 2 weeks' time, you got ACC and Big Ten Media Days. Now, the ACC is going to do it traditionally at the Hilton Charlotte Uptown in Charlotte, North Carolina, whereas the Big Ten, July 22nd through July 24th, will be at Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas, because nothing screams Big Ten like a casino out in the desert. But I'm never one to wish away the summer, so I can't tell you right now on July 7th that I'm excited for the start of football season. But once you get into Media Days, you're in it. And we'll have a bunch from the respective Media Days up in the next couple of weeks. But Texas Tech begins things today. And I was asking both of you, Jacob Reimer and Ryan Baker, the last time you thought of the Red Raiders. Now, they've been busy. If you hadn't heard, over the weekend, they landed a 5-star offensive tackle. They pulled him away from the Longhorns and the Buckeyes of Ohio State. Now, they did so by offering him a $5.1 million contract. And boy, it screams to where we are in college football that this Felix Ojo, and I think I'm pronouncing his name correctly, he was the 20th overall prospect in ESPN's class of 2026, 6'7", 285 pounds from Mansfield, Texas, chose the Red Raiders over, again, Ohio State and Texas. And now the reporting that's been done seems to think that he had the Buckeyes and the Longhorns kind of leading them on in the week leading up to his decision that I think he made on Friday, doing a little bit of hat switcheroo.
Yeah, I don't. If these reports are true, I think the hat switcheroo thing nowadays is played out. Like, we've done that. Like, let's do something original or whatever. But if this kid is literally doing that, where he's leading these schools on, and I don't know, maybe some schools do that to players. I'm not sure. I wouldn't think so. I would think there would be some way that they would be reprimanded for that. I don't know, but that's kind of bogus to make this school think, yeah, I'm really going to pick you when the whole time you weren't. And I mean, I don't know. I think the school's okay. And guess what? I think that stuff comes back to get you.
So I was just about to say,
right?
With college football and really with anything being so much about relationships. And you've seen Ohio State's kind of reluctance to offer that kind of money now, $5.1 million for an offensive tackle. I don't think the Buckeyes were going to touch. But the reluctance that the Buckeyes have shown, even with that tackle that chose Miami, a reluctance to pay big money for such a position that you really need to get on campus into your system and develop him before you can really have that trust in that player to help you out on your offensive line. It's one of the most important positions that you can have, defending your quarterback, that you can't really guarantee that a 17, 18-year-old is going to be ready, especially a guy in the class of 2026. But at 11:30, Shayhan Jaraja, national college football reporter at CBS Sports, is going to be joining us because while we're interested in the on-field dynamic or the on-field makeup of Texas Tech, how they got to where they are right now, where they're handing out $5.1 million contracts to juniors, seniors in high school, is really where my interest is. And he's been doing a lot of reporting on kind of this Red Raider resurgence from an NIL standpoint, to where they've really changed over their entire roster from last season in what is, I think, a very winnable Big Ten. So Shayhan's going to join us at 11:30. We'll get with Austin Ward, as we do traditionally on a Monday, at 10:30. Because we're doing the 20 most interesting college football programs in the 11 o'clock hour, that'll start at 11 and go all the way through with Shehan at 11:30. We'll blitz the weekend coming up at 10 o'clock because it was a busy one in sports. And I can't promise that there's going to be too much baseball to talk today because we're just so in it when it comes to college football. I think Paul Feinbaum had some stuff on the 4th of July that I want to get to coming up here at 9:30. We do have all-star rosters out in Major League Baseball. LSU's doing something with their jerseys, with their uniforms, that I think is just the beginning for all of your favorite college football teams, including the one in Columbus.
We knew this was coming,
sure,
right? And we've talked about this, and it's coming in a major way. And we talk all the time on this program, and we maybe joke about you wanting to demolish the shoe.
Load up.
But guess what? The nationwide horseshoe, it's coming. That is coming, and people are going to hate it, but it's just the way it's got to be now. You have got to raise every amount of revenue that you can, and some people are going to be against this, right? They're not going to want to see a Safe Light patch on the Buckeyes jersey next to Nike. But to me, all of these games you play in, these CFP games, the CFP National Championship, the Rose Bowl, you've got something there, right? So why not have something that's going to make you money?
Now, you don't want it to be a NASCAR type logo or NASCAR type logos where they're all over the jerseys. And we'll have some fun with this. If there was one corporate logo you'd like to see on Ohio State's jersey that you'd be okay with seeing on the Buckeyes jersey, at 971 BFS in our YouTube chat, we'll have a little bit of fun with this as we go throughout the show and then kind of tell you what LSU is doing and how it relates to, you've got to find money. This can't be a college football where you just rely on what you've been doing for the past however many years. It's now a thing where I've got to turn over all of the couch cushions to see how much I can actually get. Because like the Red Raiders, the Tigers were very busy in the transfer portal this past offseason. And it's two very different ways of going about building a roster. But the one way to do it is by having the biggest war chest. And another way to do it is through recruiting and killing it on the trail. And one team that I didn't have on my bingo card has been doing that, and they had a pretty good weekend, along with the Red Raiders, along with Notre Dame. We'll tell you about it next. It's Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
A lot of hosts have been on our airways in the past 30 years. Some good, some bad, some really bad. Anyway, sorry for that. The Fan.
All the folks at Buckeye, night or day.
My AC stopped
working. Your competition says it's fried. When I saw their cost to replace it, I could have just died.
We can give a second opinion, give you options and advice. We'll strive to earn your trust and make you a client for life.
Get a free second opinion. Replace or repair.
Call 614-683-9911. Call the folks at Buckeye, night or day.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
Hey, it's Anthony. I actually enjoy the off-season. Gives me a chance to be really active, travel, be on the move. But when my back started giving me pain, I wasn't going to just deal with it this time. I went to the Good Feet store. Their personally fit arch supports got my feet into their ideal alignment, and I could already feel the difference in my back immediately. And they educated me. I had no clue. We actually have several arches under our feet, and those cushy over-the-counter insoles were not going to do the trick. So many people suffering with pain can benefit from their system. People with pain in their feet, ankles, lower legs, knees, hips, and more. I've been wearing my personally fit arch supports for a while now, and they've given me the motivation and confidence to be as active as I want to be. The Good Feet store thrives on being solution-oriented. Go in. The fitting is free. They want you to try them in the store and feel them for yourself. So get back to living the life you love with the Good Feet store. They're on Stringtown Road in Grove City and on Polaris Parkway. Or check them out at goodfeet.com.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Guys, listen up. How many of you out there have been diagnosed with sleep apnea? Maybe your partner can't tolerate you snoring every night. You can't stand your CPAP machine. I totally get it. But the good news is there are alternatives to the CPAP machine. And Dr. Mark Levy is here to change your sleep and your life. Trust me, your significant other will thank you later. Dr. Mark Levy can customize an oral appliance that opens your airways, helps you breathe better, and of course, it stops your snoring. That's the point. It's quick, it's comfortable, and it's an alternative to those bulky, loud CPAP machines you always hear about. For over 15 years, Dr. Mark Levy has led the way when it comes to treating snoring and sleep apnea. And he's helped countless patients breathe easier, sleep better, and live healthier, more energized lives. If you're snoring and not sleeping, you need to call Dr. Mark Levy's office today. Schedule your appointment now with Dr. Mark Levy at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. You can also visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com. Once again, that's sleepbettercolumbus.com.
It's been a real journey since 2014 when I first had my injury. I realized that my home was just not working for me and that it was time to ask for help. Homes for Our Troops is really giving me my life back. The shower allows me to go in and turn around with my chair, pull down storage racks, automated door systems, hours of my morning given back to me. Adaptive sports are a huge part of my life, a huge part of my healing journey as well. Homes for Our Troops helped with making sure that I had a home gym so that I can continue to train. This past year, I was able to host Thanksgiving in my home. And it was the first time I was able to have my whole family in one place and I was able to contribute to the meal. There are a lot more veterans in need, and Homes for Our Troops is going to be there to help them too.
Homes for Our Troops builds and donates specially adapted custom homes nationwide for severely injured post 9/11 veterans and enables them to rebuild their lives. Join our mission at hfotusa.org.
Can't get enough of your favorite fan content? Good news, we're on all the digitals. Follow 971 The Fan on X, Facebook, YouTube, The Talk, and Gram. Your digital home for endless shenanigans. The Fan.
The big one is back. The Good Guys 27th Summit Racing Nationals presented by PPG. All this weekend at the Ohio Expo Center in Columbus. Over 6,000 of the nation's baddest hot rods, muscle cars, and trick trucks. Don't miss Good Guys autocross racing action. A tire-smoking burnout competition. A pro street takeover. Earth-shaking Nitro Thunderfest. Meet the top builders in the industry and more. All this weekend at the Ohio Expo Center. Details at good-guys.com.
The outdoor drama Tecumseh is back this summer. The drama, the history, and the spectacle make Tecumseh one of Ohio's most beloved traditions. Tecumseh has provided thrilling live entertainment for 50 years, and the outdoor theater at Sugarloaf Mountain will provide a safe, and memorable experience for your entire family. Get tickets now at tecumsehdrama.com. This message is made possible in part by the Ohio Arts Council. Tecumseh, experience the drama.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Scattered showers and thunderstorms today, some with heavy downpours. Otherwise, skies will be mostly to partly cloudy with our highs in the upper 80s. For tonight, more of an isolated chance of showers and storms. Otherwise, mostly cloudy with lows in the 70s. And for Tuesday, again, an isolated chance of showers and thunderstorms. Otherwise, partly sunny with highs in the upper 80s. For The Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfalo with the 10 Weather Impact Forecast.
If you haven't thought about Buckeye football today, I'm sorry to tell you that you're dead. Our condolences. You're home of the Buckeyes. The Fan. Bo knows many people. He talks to the interesting ones on this show. This is Bishop and Friends.
Eric Reeser, Ryan Baker, Jacob Reimer rolling along on this Monday, post 4th of July weekend edition of the program. And it's a little somber. I guess from my perspective as the pinnacle of the summer every year for me is the 4th of July. And now we're past that, kind of staring down the barrel, as I said in the last segment, of football media days that'll kind of take over for the next 4 weeks as we try to figure out who the hell is going to be anything in college football. I do think with the unknowns at quarterback for Ohio State, even for Texas, this, and you extrapolate that out through every major team or every big boy brand in the country outside of a pair of or a handful of programs, I think this does look to be one of the more exciting, if not interesting, college football seasons that we've had, because who knows anything about anything, really, especially in July, as we sit here on July 7th. And we hear from Paul Feinbaum coming up in about 10 minutes. Some pre-4th of July expectations for your favorite team in the 2025 season. And I don't think you can take much of it, but we'll hear from Feinbaum. He was actually working on the 4th of July, unlike much of us here. I did take in the Upper Arlington 4th of July parade, and it was another good showing by your Grove City Greyhounds. The pride of GC was they're a fixture in the 4th of July parade as they perform. I think every year that I've seen them, every year that I've seen that parade has had the Grove City Marching Band. But boy, I felt for them. I felt for the other marching bands that were marching down Northwest Boulevard because it was a hot one.
Feel for all of you standing outside during a parade on July 4th.
I haven't in recent years paid much, if any, attention to like the reunion floats, like UA class of 85 or UA class of 92. But I felt for all of them sitting up there, and you start Zottlinger Road and you go all the way down to North Star, and that's a hike. And when it's kicking 89, 90 degrees and that humidity, and then we decided that we'd go and see the Doodah Parade. So that hike from Grandview to Neal Avenue and seeing the people involved with that, it was awesome.
I hope you had your Gold Bond ready.
It was, yeah, that extra strength green label Gold Bond is what helps you at this time of the year. But just want to say, when you think things are on fire in the world, nothing kind of helps remind you that there's still some good in the celebration of July 4th. And that includes the UA 4th of July parade. That includes the Doodah parade. Just seeing everybody out there. And you did see a lot of neighbors helping neighbors, as when it got hot, there was water provided. I saw that there were some dogs that when they're out in that kind of heat, boy, it's really uncomfortable. And it was cool to see that, homes and neighbors would come out with, bowls of water for dogs. It was all really cool, and it made you feel really good for the 4th of July than coming out on the weekend.
I thought you were going to say there was nothing that made you feel better and restore your faith in humanity than Joey Chestnut back in the Nathan's hot dog eating contest.
I did not watch it.
I did not either.
I did not, because it's at noon, I think, noon Eastern time on the 4th. And so we were kind of making plans on getting down to Neal Avenue at that time. And there's nobody else that's close to him. Like he's peerless.
I did see on the Twitter machine this weekend, somebody put a Mount Rushmore of athletes and had Joey Chestnut up there. Come on now. Like, it's not. Is he dominant in what he does? Yes, but this is not sport. Come on. This is not athletic.
Did you guys see the question that I think the PGA Tour asked, like, golfers on the tour, who would win Joey Chestnut? I think it's either they both eat a hot dog and then run, or doing their own sport. They eat a hot dog and then they run a 100-meter dash, Joey Chestnut or Usain Bolt.
I go with Bolt.
Come on now.
I don't know how far Joey would get without before he pulls a hamstring.
I know, but
it's a real question.
How quickly will Usain Bolt eat a hot dog before he runs?
I just don't.
Fast enough that it doesn't matter.
I don't think it matters. I think you got to go. I think a couple hot dogs.
And listen, when you talk about Usain Bolt, you have to say Tyvis Powell's cousin, Usain Bolt.
That's right. Can't forget that.
Because those guys eat. Like, it's not to say that those athletes don't consume food. They consume a lot of food. They need a ton of calories to properly fuel them for that kind of competition. So I don't doubt that Usain Bolt can put away some food. So it would have to be a couple of hot dogs where I would at least think about maybe Joey. Maybe.
How do you train or practice for the competition?
Eat a lot of hot dogs.
But, like, how often do you do it? Because, like, I feel like my stomach would get hurt at some point.
I would think you have to do it daily, right? And then just evacuate.
It might have been an MTV documentary about Kobayashi. This was however many years, when MTV was still producing original content, that they followed him around in Tokyo in like a day in his life. And it was pretty light for what he ate in like non-training days. And then the training days, he would just gorge to inflate his stomach. He'd put a lot of water in there just to inflate the stomach and then let it come back down, expand the stomach and let it come back down. Because when you're talking about hot dogs and buns, those things take up a ton of space. So I think that's what you have to do. And he was also lifting a lot, and he was also doing a lot of movement to burn through those kinds of calories. So it's an interesting question, but for me, Usain Bolt puts away a hot dog and then sprints a 100-meter dash and probably doesn't think too much of it. But for Chestnut, it's an incredible feat what he's done and what he's done for I'll say it, sport of competitive eating. But there's nobody that's going to touch him. So the interest that I have in the hot dog eating contest is almost zero. I didn't think that when Syracuse hired Fran Brown, they'd do much. I thought it'd be, they could have a couple of fun upsets. They pulled Kyle McCord from the transfer portal. They had a decent season last year, but at no point did you think, well, Syracuse is the dominant power in the ACC. Do I think the news from the weekend changes that? Not yet. Now, it could in a year, maybe, as they land probably their biggest fish in 20 years. 5-star wide receiver Calvin Russell committed to Syracuse. Now, in the class of 2026, he's the third highest ranked prospect. 4 and 5 are Chris Henry Jr. and Caden Dixon-Wyatt. Now, you know those names as Buckeye commits. But there's an Alabama wide receiver who just committed over the weekend. There's Tristan Keys, who committed to LSU. Like, these are the biggest fish in that class. And for Fran Brown to land that sort of a prospect is huge. But for Syracuse, you need to have more than that, in my opinion, as they sit 20th in the 2026 24/7 sports ranking.
I think it'd be interesting to find out what the NIL deal is to get this kid there, because this is the same Fran Brown, what was it, a month or two ago, that said, what was it, the $2.2 million or whatever, or $4 million? I can't remember whatever the number is. He was talking about recruits or transfer guys or people leaving them, and said, only the homie from Ohio State, Jeremiah Smith, deserves that. So I'd love to know what the number is for Calvin Russell to commit to Syracuse. Regardless, good job out of them.
Yeah.
Getting this 5-star recruit, maybe the biggest recruit in school history. But again, I just would love to see the number.
Because I'm looking at their R-Lads projections. Ricky Collins is projected to be their starting quarterback. And I don't think anybody within the sound of my voice could tell you where Ricky Collins is from in terms of hometown and school that he transferred from. You'd have to Google it. I had to. He's a Baton Rouge kid. He transferred from LSU. He had 34 yards passing last season for the Tigers. So I don't know if this can, and he's a sophomore, so he's a redshirt sophomore, so he's still got some more time. So maybe if they can stack a 9-3 season, they can make some noise there. The ACC, not as wide open as I thought they were last season. I think we'll start ACC schools on Wednesday of this week. We'll do Bo's SMU Ponies on Monday. It was the one thing when trying to put the puzzle together of the 20 most interesting programs. I had to make sure that SMU was going to be on the list when Bo was here. And so we made sure that was going to be the case this coming Monday. But you talk about NIL deals and what would have been given to Calvin Russell, a lot to go to upstate New York, because Syracuse would have to offer that to get anybody, I think, to go to that program. $5.1 million was the reported contract. Actually, it was his agent, Felix Ojo, who was the fourth-rated offensive tackle in this 2026 recruiting class, had his agent come out and say it's a 3-year, $5.1 million deal that he signed with the Red Raiders collective. Now, they're getting all of this money from an oil man who played offensive line in Lubbock back in the early 2000s. Now, if you've seen Landman, he is the actor. He's the guy that basically, when the market tanked, bought up a ton of mineral rights and oil wells that weren't anything, and then a couple years later sold them for a giant pile of cash. And he is using that giant. But John Hamm's character in Landman is this Texas Tech booster. And so now they have a ton of money that they're willing to spend. What's the return on that investment for a guy like that? Also, Notre Dame landed a 4-star wide receiver, Braden Robinson, the 5'8", 165-pound wide receiver from Red Oak, Texas, chose the Irish over Miami and Arizona. They also got Devin Fitzgerald on Saturday night. He's the son of Larry Fitzgerald. So they've done a lot of legacy building, but what does that all necessarily mean to how Notre Dame factors into a 12-team, the final year of the 12-team college football playoff? We don't know. I think it's very safe to say that Jeremiah Smith, Caleb Downs. What else is known about college football entering 2025? You'll hear what Paul Feinbaum thinks he knows coming up next. Bishop and Friends on the Fan.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED, because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds, through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at Hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs, with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to Hims.com/joy. That's Hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Get Eco. Aaron, you know that complete HVAC system we sell for $12,000?
Yeah, it's for homes that are 1,600 square feet or less.
How big is 1,600 square feet?
3-bedroom, 2.5 bath. Those homes are what America is made of.
Get Eco. Other companies are charging $15,000 to $18,000 for that same system.
Yeah, I know.
And if your family doesn't need a new furnace, Eco will replace the AC component for just $8,500. Why are we doing this?
Nurses, police officers, office workers, firefighters, and school teachers live in those houses, Jerry.
The people that America is made of live in the houses that America is made of.
We're just doing what we can to restore balance to the universe, Jerry.
Get Eco. When a person is doing well, they're making money. But when they're doing good, they're helping others.
Eco plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians.
We're bringing balance to the universe.
Go to geteco.com.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
What's up?
What's up, man? What's up with you?
Sponsored by Newman Roofing. For all your roofing, gutter, or siding needs, call Newman Roofing today at 614-NEW-ROOF or visit online at newmanroofing.com.
What's up? We'll start with a report from the Department of Corrections. It's a 3-year, $5.1 million contract that Felix Ojo signed with Texas Tech. Again, that's from his agent. So, yes, I saw Rand in the YouTube chat saying, players entering college now have agents, shaking my head at all of the changes. Unfortunately, Rand, and for a lot of others out there who I've heard similar things from, this isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Players are going to have agents that are going to be out in the forefront saying, yeah, Texas Tech gave my client 3 years, $5.1 million. Now he's an offensive tackle. So if things don't go well necessarily in year one, or he doesn't play right away, does he seek out the transfer portal? And then does Texas Tech or their collective say, well, no, you signed this contract. You must honor the terms of the deal. I always thought that if you're a school that's playing with that kind of money, with like Ohio State, like Texas, I don't think it would be a bad thing if you were out in front saying how much your players were earning with name, image, and likeness. I don't know why this necessarily, the $5.1 million is a bad thing if you're throwing around that type of money with your collectives. I would think that schools operating in that kind of area would say, yeah, we're being serious about this. We're being serious about bringing you onto campus with financial incentives and then developing you for the next level. Now, there are only a few schools that can actually deliver on that promise. One happens to be located in Columbus. I'm, again, very interested to see where this Texas Tech experiment goes and what that return on that kind of investment would net in year one, because reporting has the Red Raiders spending more than $10 million on 17 new players in the winter transfer portal window. The Red Raiders made 21 portal additions in this cycle while assembling the nation's second-ranked transfer class. Now, LSU's got the top-ranked transfer class. So you would think that it might be similar money for LSU to have to spend on this. What's the return?
It's very interesting with Texas Tech, and you hear the 5.1, and you think, oh, wow, that's a lot. Well, then you hear over 3 years, it's not as bad, right? But we just saw this with Nico Yamaleva. Like, how do you enforce that? How do you make sure he stays and doesn't go somewhere the next year? Is he getting all the money up front, or is he just getting, a portion of it for this year, then a portion of it in the next year? It are all these things that when all of this happened, Reese, were the questions that we had. We took one step forward and 2 steps back because we have all these questions with some of this stuff. So it'll be interesting to see, like, what the wording is. Is there an actual contract between player and NIL collective and all of that? And it's just very fascinating. To me, I feel like you talk about LSU and the great recruiting class that they've had in the transfer portal, bringing guys in, and Texas Tech's right behind them. Texas Tech, according to 24/7 Sports, is number 2.
Right.
To me, I feel like if I'm going to spend my money that way, and I know you have to build a program, right? So you're going to want to bring in recruits in that. I feel like, though, if I've got to add and I'm going to spend money, I would rather spend money on proven production rather than potential.
And I think that's where you're seeing the Red Raiders go with this, because in the 2026 cycle, Texas Tech, while landing one of the bigger figuratively and literal fish in that pool, Texas Tech, you got to scroll down a ways. They're 25th overall. Their average ranking, which I do think is the important piece there, the Red Raiders have 18 commits in the 2026 cycle. 88.21 is their average prospect rank per 24/7 Sports. You go up a ways, you find the Buckeyes at 6 with 21 commits. Their average ranking is 92.27. And this goes to a point Paul Feinbaum made last week. Did you guys ever get an answer from him on who his top 4 coaches were?
We did not.
Okay.
I don't believe that was asked.
Because he had said that he didn't think Ryan Day was 2 or 3. I'm like, all right, Ryan Day's probably 4th on your list then. You have Steve Sarkisian, Dabo Swinney, Kirby Smart, your top 3, and then Ryan Day's right there. You don't need to be the best coach in college football to win national championships. I think that's a thing we can say is proven. What you need to have is great recruiting and exceptional development. Those are what you need to have to win a national championship. Great coaching, you'll have good coaching if you're at these programs. They're not going to hire terrible coaches.
This was the point, though, with this. Like, you can't be a great coach without being able to recruit. That's part of the job. That's part of the description. And you say, well, Ryan Day is a great CEO. He's not a great coach. Well, being a CEO is kind of part of the job now. And you've got to adapt, and you've got to hire good coaches so you can put stuff off on them and have them take care of it while you're dealing with other things. So just coaching isn't just X's and O's on the field anymore, especially in college football. College football coaching includes X's and O's on the field with recruiting, with overseeing NIL and all of this stuff you have to deal with now.
So when Paul says that he doesn't find him, second or third play calling wise, I'm like, all right, you don't need that, in my opinion. Feinbaum was on Get Up.
Oh boy, he's had a couple of weeks.
He's made it known I don't know if disdain's the right word, but he's not a fan of Ryan Day, which is fine. You cannot deny the success. You also cannot deny 1-4 against Michigan. You cannot not deny four straight losses to the team up north. It feels ridiculous, those words coming out of my mouth. Here's Paul, and again, working on the 4th of July, talking about that kind of pressure on Coach Day entering the 2025 season and having to kind of get that four straight end that.
I'm glad to see somebody on the Ohio State lineup maybe do something more than just mouthing words, because Jeremiah sounds serious. Ryan Day has promised after every loss not to lose again, and he continues to lose again. But you said it a minute ago. They are the defending national champions. So even clowns like me on the 4th of July are not going to call for a firing of a coach because he loses one game. But that is a game he has to deal with at some point. But that national championship game will pay a lot of bills, probably. Yes, including another loss to Michigan.
I don't think he's saying they're going to lose to Michigan again, but I do think and I think that's a correct take out of Paul, because there's going to be immense pressure on Ryan Day to beat Michigan, but you win the national championship, you've gotten a buffer. In a 12-team, soon to be 16-team, Ohio State's not making the playoff.
And listen, I heard plenty of people yesterday say there's no way Ohio State loses to Michigan this year. There's no way. Well, I thought there was no way last year. And I thought there was no way in 93. And I thought there was no way in 95. There's been lots of times I thought Ohio State, no way, was going to lose to that team up north. So for people to just come out here and blatantly say Ohio State's winning this year, I think that's crazy. Is Ohio State a better football team on paper than Michigan this year? Yes, I think so. But I also think there was no doubt last year they were not only a better team on paper, they were a better team on the field.
Sure.
And for some reason, on that day in late November, they weren't. So I've seen crazy things happen. So for people to just go out there and say, there's no way Ohio State loses to Michigan this year, I think that's insane, quite frankly. Do I think Ohio State should win? Yes.
Yes, I agree with you.
But there's a lot of times they should have won and they haven't in my lifetime.
Yeah, the 2025 Michigan loss will go down for me as the most baffling Ohio State loss ever. It was an unranked Michigan team they were not good. I mean, they had a great front, they had a really good defense, and you decided to play into that. Is a baffling coaching decision that will only haunt everybody forever.
And Reese, the further we get away from that loss, the less and less it makes sense, quite frankly.
Well, especially with the run they went on in the college football playoff. Here's a little bit more from Paul on his overall expectations for the Buckeyes in 25.
Yeah, I don't like Ohio State because I think Ohio State is going to lose in the opener against Texas, and they are going to struggle to make the playoffs, let alone win it all.
Now, that's silly. Ohio State with this schedule and struggling to make the playoff. You can lose to Texas in the opener of the season. Maybe you can afford a Penn State loss on November 1st. I don't think they're losing the final game of the season against Michigan. But you saw last year what Ohio State was able to do in the regular season and still make the college football playoff.
Here's where this, especially from an outsider and not somebody that's here and lives in it every day, makes a little sense. Because they could easily lose that game to Texas, right? I mean, we talk about on paper, Penn State's a really good team this year. Mm-hmm. Nobody around here has any faith in James Franklin. But I don't think it'd be a shock if Penn State beat Ohio State this year. And then Michigan, you never know. And listen, going to Champaign this year isn't going to be easy either.
Now we're entering the silly portion of the show. It never is. Because it's a wind tunnel.
But Ohio State, you're right. In a 12-team playoff, they should be there. And they're probably going to be there. But listen, as talented as this team is, you're still replacing 8 starters on defense. you still have a whole brand new backfield with quarterback and running back. I think the receivers are okay. The offensive line are going to be fine. And a factor that I don't think a lot of people are talking about, 2 brand new coordinators, right? This will be Brian Hartline's first time calling plays. And this is Matt Patricia's first time coaching in college, really. So those are factors in this thing that it's easy to get lost when we're here and in it in the fandom and, we've got this guy, Jeremiah Smith, Caleb Downs are the 2 best players in the country. But those are real factors this season for Ohio State.
They are. And I would also say to that, so many other teams have similar questions. Because you looked at the talent that Penn State has, but James Franklin. And they're bringing in a new defensive coordinator in Jim Knowles. So I take everything you hear in July, in June, in April, in May, with the biggest grain of salt. And I think just to the point, this all stems from Jeremiah Smith, was it 2 weeks ago, making comments down at a camp in Florida that they were not going to lose to Michigan over the next 2 years. And I think only he can make that kind of a statement. And it's great to hear for Buckeye fans because he's the alpha in your room. And he's the guy that if he says that, everybody sits there and you take notice.
And what's better to hear in all of that is that Jeremiah Smith gets 2 more cracks at him, which means he's here for 2 more years.
And there's likely a pair of gold pants in Jeremiah Smith's future. Maybe we'll do a little bit of baseball coming up next. Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
Big voice guy here to remind you that you're listening to The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Okay, thanks. I have 3 more seconds. Bye-bye.
The big one is back. The Good Guys 27th Summit Racing Nationals presented by PPG. All this weekend at the Ohio Expo Center in Columbus. Over 6,000 of the nation's baddest hot rods, muscle cars, and trick trucks. Don't miss Good Guys autocross racing action. A tire-smoking burnout competition. A pro street takeover. Earth-shaking Nitro Thunderfest. Meet the top builders in the industry and more. All this weekend at the Ohio Expo Center. Details at good-guys.com.
Imagine what it would feel like getting tackled head-on by a 240-pound linebacker. You'd be in serious pain, right? But if you're unbuckled in a car crash, at just 50 miles an hour, you become a deadly projectile that can slam into other passengers with 8 times that amount of force. Don't let someone else take the hit. Buckle up and visit buckleup.ohio.gov to learn more. Brought to you by ODOT and ODPS.
Hi, I'm Dr. John Runyon from Runyon Dental Group. Are you missing teeth or do you have uncomfortable dentures? Dental implants can not only transform your smile, they can restore your confidence and allow you to eat those foods you love that you've been missing. When I was in my early 30s, I was in a similar situation needing complex dental work and dental implants. I understand all the emotions that you're feeling because I've been the patient and I know that we can help you. Schedule a free consultation today at runyondentalgroup.com. That's runyondentalgroup.com.
You know that thing you've always been too scared to go for? It seems like you'll never have the guts. Then a cancer diagnosis. And doing that thing becomes way less scary. I would know. I've always wanted a black belt. And today, the only thing standing in my way is a few wooden boards. It's been a lot of hard work and 5 years since I beat cancer at Ohio Health. Bring it on. You keep making plans.
Visit ohiohealth.com/keepmakingplans to learn more.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. Summer's heating up, and so are the deals at Germain Toyota of Columbus. Whether you're cruising to the lake or hauling your weekend gear, Germain, well, they've got the truck to help you get it done. Right now, get 2.99 APR for up to 72 months on the rugged 2024 Tacoma, or step up to the powerful 2025 Tundra, also 2.99 for 72 months. These summer savings, they won't last forever. So visit Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road, or online at germaintoyota.net.
When it comes to your roofing, siding, or gutter needs, call Newman Roofing, 614-NEW-ROOF, newmanroofing.com.
Delaware County Veterans Services is ready to help you access VA benefits, emergency financial assistance, dental and medical grants, transportation, and more. Give Delaware County Veterans Services a call, 740-833-2010 to schedule an appointment.
Attack and dominate. Morning Juice is on YouTube and 10 TV Plus.
Sponsored by Riverside Bank of Dublin.
Join Bobby Carpenter and Tito weekdays starting at 6 or watch on demand. More Bobby, less commercials. The Fan.
A SoFi personal loan is here to help you achieve something once thought impossible, overcoming high-interest credit card debt. Walk the tightrope of your finances with one low, fixed-rate monthly payment, no fees required, and as soon as the same-day funding. That's right. Pull off your own debt-defying stunt with a SoFi personal loan. Visit SoFi.com/trick to learn more. Loans originated by SoFi Bank, N.A., member FDIC. Terms and conditions apply. NMLS 696891.
It's time. Time for the pro to get everything for the entire job, all from one partner. To get access to over 3 million products, including many products you won't find in our stores. It's time to get delivery on your schedule or next day on over 50,000 products. And time to get dedicated support on the job site or in our stores. From ordering to planning, we've got you. One partner, any job, all in. Ask about all we can now do at the Pro Desk. The Home Depot Pro, it's about time.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Ohio Heating and Bryant. Doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
Connect with the show on X at 971BFS. Jump in our YouTube chat or just send a raven. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Reeser and Baker on this post-July 4th Monday edition of the program. Nate chimes into the YouTube chat. There's no clip of a player in the SEC saying they aren't going to lose to their rival that they've lost to 4 years in a row. He references Jeremiah Smith again at that camp in Florida saying they will not lose to Michigan this fall. They will end that 4-game losing streak to the enemy of mankind, that team up north. Nate's right. I'm okay with Jeremiah saying that. I'm okay with him saying we're absolutely not going to lose to them again. We can't.
I'm totally okay with it too, but
you got to do it.
You got to back it up, right? And listen, Jeremiah Smith can't go out there and win the game single-handedly, right? But he has got to perform in these next 2 rivalry games. He has got to be.
Well, let's just go with this
best
one in 2025.
Well, if you're saying both, right?
Yeah,
but he's got to go out there and be the best number 4 that we have seen on the field.
And I think he's the only one that can say it. And then that won't. I mean, I think it elicited an eye roll from Nate, who is an Ohio State fan. I think anybody else saying that would be like, oh, come on, man. But Jeremiah Smith, I think, does get a little bit of a pass. And this is happy pre-order day for the EA Sports college football game, where I think Jeremiah is the best player in the game. I think Pro Football Focus has him as the best returning player in college football. You've got everybody and their grandma who's got an all-American preseason list with Jeremiah Smith on it. And Caleb Downs is on it, too. I don't know if you saw Phil Steele had his. And I know Dom Tiberi doesn't care about the preseason list, but Max Clare is an All-American tight end preseason selection. And I think, for me, the most fascinating player this season on Ohio State's roster, not the quarterback, is Max Clare.
By the way,
I was like a 91.
I went yesterday and picked up my Phil Steele magazine from up the road at the Barnes & Noble, read up on Texas Tech last night, and forgot it on my coffee table. So I'm going to have to make sure I put it in my bag so it gets in here tomorrow with us. But I was reading up on the Red Raiders.
There's that team, that program at Texas Tech is, again, I think that they're one of our 20 most interesting college football programs. But I don't know how much it's going to translate to on the field with what the Red Raiders have done immediately. And so Shayhan Jaraja from CBS Sports, he's a national college football reporter, was given the Lubbock beat and told to let everybody know, he did some great reporting on just how Texas Tech became a team that Kurt Cignetti snitched about, where he was talking about those $35, $40 million rosters, and then you saw Texas Tech in there. I think that got a lot of people who cover the sport on a daily basis thinking, Texas Tech? How's Kurt Cignetti in Bloomington hearing about Texas Tech, and what exactly are they doing? And then you do a lot of deep diving and figuring, well, they've got a ton of oil money now, akin to what Oklahoma State did when T. Boone Pickens was giving them a ton of money. But now in an NIL world where you could start paying players right up front and kind of announcing these deals, that's how you get a 5-star offensive tackle to commit to the Red Raiders instead of the Buckeyes and the Longhorns, and have his agent come out that same day and say, yeah, it's a 3-year, $5.1 million deal. Like, that's where we are in college football, where teams like Texas Tech can do this and make these big splashes. But are they, and by they I mean the booster, going to be willing to make more or cut more checks if Texas Tech can't win the Big 12? Like, where does that kind of donor fatigue set in, where I don't think you have with Ohio State and Texas because of the longevity of success with those two programs. Temu Pickens. Now, I said T-Boone, but Temu Pickens is pretty good, especially, again, if the Red Raiders can't cash in on all that money that he's been giving them. MLB All-Star rosters are out yesterday. You have Jose Ramirez making his 7th All-Star appearance, his 4th starter nod. He'll be starting third base for the American League. Stephen Kwan's a All-Star outfielder reserve, and really the only 2 Guardians of note. Everyone else is, boy, it's painful watching that Cleveland club play baseball. For the National League, you have Elly De La Cruz as an NL reserve. He's making his 2nd All-Star appearance at games next Tuesday, July 15th. They're going to be doing it in Atlanta. You'll have the Home Run Derby coming up on Monday. I didn't pay any attention to the Reds over the weekend, but I did see Zach Wheeler one-hit them on Sunday. The Reds dropped the rubber match of that series 3-1 in Philadelphia. They're back home tonight hosting the Miami Marlins at 7:10. Cincinnati's still 2 games above 500, 4th in the NL Central. Are we still riding the hope train for Cincinnati in the summer?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not there yet. Everybody like Tyvus this morning. I mean, how does it feel to have a baseball? You know, I mean, I'm not there yet with the Reds, right? They still haven't been swept, but they're 2 games over 500. They're still out of the wild card here with, I think, 2.5 games back now. It might be a little less. I know it was 1.5 the other day. But, yeah, I think there's still a lot of hope here for the Reds. And, listen, the hope is that they get healthy. They're still missing Hunter Green right now, who's you could argue is their best pitcher, even though Andrew Abbott is having a heck of a year for them. They just haven't been able to get the lineup to click here, but I still believe in Francona. I still believe in their run differential, as it's been pretty positive, close to 40 all year. It's down a little this weekend after the series with the Phillies, but I feel like it is better to be a Reds fan right now. There's a little bit of hope.
There's no thought about it, brother.
The Guardians.
I had paid attention to what the Guardians and Tigers are doing up until yesterday. I like watching Tarek Skubal pitch, and he's one of the best, if not the best, pitchers in Major League Baseball. And I thought, look, if there was ever a time, considering what happened to Skubal last time he was at Progressive Field, maybe you could stop a 9-game losing streak. You could inject a little bit of hope back into this fan base if you beat the Motor City Kitties at Progressive Field on Sunday. Well, the Guardians had a 1-0 lead in the 9th, and they were 1 strike away from ending that losing streak that had, again, reached 9 games, but Bo Naylor couldn't control an Emmanuel Clase fastball. They score a runner in from third, and then I forget who it was who hit a 3-run home run in the 10th inning. It was Trey Sweeney, who unfortunately took Cade Smith deep in the 10th. Tigers got 6 runs in extra innings. They win 7-2. Guardians have dropped 10 straight now with hope gone. And for this organization, I had mentioned Stephen Kwan. He probably won't be dealt at the deadline. They've got him in arbitration, or they can at least take him to arbitration in the next 2 seasons. I wonder for him if I don't give him, if not this year, next year, the Myles Garrett, Joe Thomas treatment of let him spend his best years or his later years with a team that can contend. And if the Guardians are truly going to be sellers at the deadline, where they're going to send Clase, Carlos Santana is going to be gone, although I guess thank you for your service, but, you know, best wishes in future endeavors to what I think he'll be 36. See what kind of prospects you can get in a haul for Stephen Kwan, if not this season, next season at the deadline. And truly reset this organization and give Stephen Vogt the opportunity to coach a young squad and actually see if he can be a manager for the next 10 years.
If Stephen Kwan gets traded next year, I feel like that's bad news for Stephen Vogt. I don't know if he gets a chance to manage this team for the next 10 years, right? And it sure seems like some things are unraveling with him this year and this team. I mean, that's one of the things you get, right, when you hire a first-time manager. Sure. Everything went great last year, but now how do you react when the wheels start falling off?
And that's what I'm interested to see. But this is not on him, in my opinion. I think that this is only being his second year. Yeah, it's tough when you hire the first-year manager to coach a club that had expectations like they did. And then in the first season, you go to the ALCS. But I think if you want to see if he can be your guy for the future, you give him a really young squad. And I don't know. Hope does not spring eternal for the Guardians, but All-Star break comes next week, and so that might be a reprieve, at least for your pal Eric, in terms of his Cleveland Guardians fandom. We'll blitz the weekend next. It's Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
During this 10-second promo, Rothman will lose money gambling on something.
People like you come here and blow the family nesting that built this town.
Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
The Fan.
It's your lucky day because at Speedway, there's a $5,000 winner every single day. All you do is shop with Speedy Rewards. Then play the in-app game for a chance to win $5,000 in cash. So you could win $5K today, or the next day, or the next day, or the next... Okay, you get it. New daily cash winners only at Speedway. Are you next? No purchase necessary. Ends 1/6/26 USDC 16 plus. For official rules and free gameplay, go to 5k-a-day.com/rules.
I need a small order of sheet metal to repair something in the shop. It's not much, but can you help me out?
At Metal Supermarkets, no order is too small.
Wait, really?
Yep.
What about small home projects?
Yep.
For a car I'm working on?
Yep.
Any kind of metal?
Yep.
Cut to size?
Yep.
With no minimum order?
Yep.
How about 1,000 cut pieces of aluminum flat bar?
Yep. Choose from over 8,000 types, shapes, and grades of metal in any quantity you need. And yes, we're serious. Any metal, any size, ready fast. Locally owned on Wilson Road.
Your bathroom's got to go, the vanity's decayed, and toilet's really old. The bathtub's giving way. If Baths R Us are in, call morning, noon, or night. You do not have to wait to get your bathroom right.
Call Baths R Us for your free estimate and enter to win our Christmas in July $12,500 bathroom remodel with an additional savings of up to $3,000 plus low to no monthly payments. 380-225-2284. Baths R Us, where dreams soak in.
At Delta Dental of Ohio, we understand oral and vision health is connected to overall well-being. With Delta Dental and Delta Vision, you get affordable, comprehensive coverage from a name you know and trust. Our plans are designed to keep your teeth strong and vision clear, so you can confidently smile at life. 2 great plans, 1 name you can trust. Learn more at deltadentaloh.com.
And we're back talking all things connectivity with Spectrum customers Kev and Melissa. So tell us, how long have you been with Spectrum and how important is a reliable internet connection?
We've been Spectrum customers since we moved 12 years ago. The first thing we did is sign up for Spectrum Internet.
You get a lease, you get it Wi-Fi.
Yes,
immediately.
We need that. We had Spectrum Wi-Fi before our couch got here.
That's true. That's a true story.
I'll sleep on the floor, but I won't go to bed with no internet.
You heard it here. Switch to Spectrum now.
Thinking about buying your first home? Now, with Third Federal, you can buy your first home and pay no PMI. Hi, I'm Mark Stefanski, Chairman and CEO of Third Federal. Private mortgage insurance, or PMI, can cost thousands of dollars over the life of your loan. And you may not realize PMI doesn't protect you. It only protects the lender in case of default. But at Third Federal, you can buy a home with just 5% down and no PMI. Plus, first-time home buyers get $750 off of closing costs. So if you're thinking about buying your first home, go for it and visit thirdfederal.com.
Even before you find a home, lock in 6.44%, APR 6.47% on a 30-year fixed-rate purchase mortgage. Visit thirdfederal.com or call 1-800-3rd-FED today. APR reflects 15% down for $350,000 loan amount. Rate requires automatic payment program and is subject to change. Restrictions apply. See conditions for closing cost coupon at thirdfederal.com/FTHB. Equal housing lender.
Boating season is finally here, and Buckeye Lake Marina is your go-to destination for all your on-the-water needs. With the largest inventory in Central Ohio, you can choose from top brands like Bennington, South Bay, Crown Line, and more. Buckeye Lake Marina has it all. Pontoon boats, luxury tri-toon boats, even merch. Open 7 days a week to serve you better. Find your next dream boat at Buckeye Lake Marina. Visit BuckeyeLakeMarina.com today for all your on-the-water needs. The good life, the lake life, starts at Buckeye Lake Marina.
Evan Cohen here. Whether you're locking in your home run picks or riding with your favorite golfers this summer, ESPN Bet is your sports book for all the action. Go from checking stats on your favorite teams and players to placing bets in just a few taps. Plus, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet app and sign up with promo code USL to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Adam Schefter here for Vivid Seats, your ultimate destination for all your sports and concert needs this summer. With a game-changing rewards program and an unbeatable selection of tickets, they make it easy for every fan to watch their favorite teams and players in action. Catch every home run and thrilling comeback in person from your favorite seat. Plus, every ticket is backed by a 100% buyer guarantee, giving you peace of mind with every purchase. Visit VividSeats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. MLB's All-Star Game is next Tuesday. AL and NL rosters were announced yesterday. Guardians third baseman Jose Ramirez earned his 7th All-Star nod and 4th All-Star starter selection. Stephen Kwan's an All-Star reserve for the second time. Red shortstop Elly De La Cruz was named an NL All-Star reserve for the second year in a row. On the field yesterday, the Phillies beat the Redlegs 3-1 to take the rubber match of the 3-game set. Cincinnati will host Miami tonight at 7:10. You can hear that game on the Fan following the Buckeye Show. As for the Guardians, Cleveland lost their 10th straight, a 7-2 loss for the Tigers in extra innings. A Bo Naylor error brought in the game-tying run for the Tigers in the 9th. Detroit scored 6 in extra innings. Cleveland's going to host Houston on Monday. This update sponsored by Dr. Mark Levy. If you're snoring and not sleeping, call Dr. Mark Levy's office at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. Or visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com. Breaking sports news when it happens on the Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
First Friday miracles are always better with Uncle Bo. This is Bishop and Friends.
Yes, it is. Eric Reeser, Ryan Baker, Jacob Reimer joining you on this Monday edition of the program. We're going to start our 20 most interesting college football programs today. The 11 o'clock hour, we'll get started with the Red Raiders of Texas Tech. Yeah, that school has not been thought of by many, I think, in this area or within the sound of my voice in a long time. Like, it brought me back to that Michael Crabtree game against the then number 1 ranked Texas Longhorns. Maybe you're thinking of Patrick Mahomes. Maybe you're thinking of Cliff Kingsbury. But, boy, it's been a minute for me since the Red Raiders have occupied space in my mind.
That Mahomes-Baker shootout that one year where they both put up just ridiculous video game type numbers. That's the one that I think of most recently when I think of at least a Texas Tech game.
And so we'll do the Red Raiders. We'll do them. Do them hard, we'll do them fast at the 11 o'clock hour. Shayhan Jaraja, the national college football reporter for CBS Sports, who's done a lot of reporting on what's been going on in Lubbock in terms of NIL and boosters ponying up money so that the Red Raiders can compete. And I think a real gettable Big 12 this season, but he'll join us coming up at 11:30. We'll do Austin Ward at 10:30 this morning. There's a lot of college football to go over as we enter Media Days season. I think the first of the Power 4 conferences is the Big 12. They're doing it at Jerry's World starting tomorrow. Then you've got the SEC, then the ACC and the Big 10 are going on the 22nd of July. So with all of that being said, we are going to have to blitz the weekend just a little earlier.
Bishop and Friends present a weekend sports blitz.
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 3 restaurant locations, Grandview, Gahanna, and now in Westerville. Drink local. Drink High Bank.
All right, Jacob, what'd you have?
So I believe that I had some form of Bronny James content coming out with the NBA Summer League getting started over the weekend. He did not play in their opener for the Lakers, but he played yesterday against the Miami Heat where the Lakers won 103-83. Bronny only played 11 minutes, but he had 10 points and was 3 of 7 from the field. And the content that we had was a monstrous one-handed dunk that, as 6'2", was pretty impressive going off of 1 foot.
So I had that on a weekend where there wasn't a ton scheduled, I really wouldn't know what to do. And when I have those days where there's stuff that there's not a lot to do, I get these plans that I'm going to do stuff that I've needed to have been doing, and then I just don't do any of it. If I don't have anything scheduled, I kind of just lounge, and I think that's good to a point, but there's some stuff I needed to get done that just didn't get done this weekend because I just didn't know what to do.
I would say some of the best weekends or some of the best days are the ones where you don't have any plans and you don't do anything. Certainly no one's going to question your work ethic, Ryan Baker, but The idea that you go into a day, you don't have work to do, you have some stuff that, I could get done, or I could do it later, and you don't do any of it.
Yeah.
It feels pretty good.
Yeah, but it feels like, man, now this week, with a lot of stuff to do already, heading into vacation week, got a little more cramped.
Oh, that's true. You are off next. I had pain. So the Guardians and Tigers were scheduled first pitch 1:40 on Sunday. At 1:34, I tweeted, "This Sunday, Guards ball is going to be really bad, huh?" Well, Eric had no idea just how bad it was going to be. It's a 1-0 game in the ninth inning. The Guardians and Emmanuel Clase had one strike to make, and Bo Naylor just couldn't corral the ball. That brings in the game-tying run, and then the Tigers would put 6 on the Guardians en route to a 7-2 win in extra innings, elonging that losing streak of Cleveland to 10 games.
Yeah, if you're Bo Naylor as an everyday catcher, you have to stop that ball. It cannot just squirt through the legs like that.
Yeah, Clase had Parker Meadows down. It was a 1-2 count. He had 1 strike remaining. And Zach McKinstry comes in from third base, and it's just a mess from there because Detroit ties it up, and you're like, there's no chance. There's no chance the Guardians are winning that game. And then Cade Smith's the guy who gives up that 3-run shot.
That is why you see so many major league catchers that are very good defensively but don't hit well because of situations like that. Because catcher was always one of those positions where defense mattered so much more, and baseball has obviously changed a lot, but sometimes that's what you get.
I did not have that. What did you not have, Jacob?
So I'm going to keep it with the James family here. I did not have that we were going to get LeBron James golfing and videos of him putting out.
What was the hat he was wearing?
It said welcome home.
Welcome home.
And so he was playing in Akron with a welcome home hat. Boy, he knows how to play all of you.
And he was even working out in the Cavs facility.
I think he does that every season.
Yeah,
every offseason he's there.
Mm-hmm.
He lives in Akron.
He was just getting together with some old buddies from high school and hitting the links, golfing. And you would think, though, at 6'8", that he would have some specially made clubs. He looks like he's getting into a retirement pastime when that time comes.
Guys, I did not have that I would not see a single firework on the 4th of July. I heard plenty.
Not one?
Going off around my house, but I did not see one firework all weekend long, and I couldn't tell you if that's ever happened on a 4th of July weekend for me, but I personally did not see one.
I did not have 7 teams. That's the most in an NBA trade in history.
Wow.
That were in on the Kevin Durant switcheroo from Phoenix to Houston.
I was disappointed in the hype with that.
The trade itself?
Yeah, because Shams was making it seem like it was going to be some big, massive blockbuster deal, and then it's just basically picks and
Hawks,
rookies.
Nets, Golden State Warriors, Lakers, Timberwolves, Phoenix Suns. And yes, to your point, the only thing that really comes of it is Kevin Durant's a Houston Rocket.
Right, exactly.
Like second rounders that those teams will never actually use, players that aren't going to really factor into much. But 7 teams is a lot. Jacob, who impressed you over the weekend?
So it could go either way, but I'm happy that he had a good weekend of golf, and that's Max Homa. He had a good start on his final round, starting going into it 1 shot back, and started with 3 birdies in his first 4 holes, looking like he was finally going to get a win for the first time since 2023, but he ends up playing golf in 1 over from those first 4 and finishes in a tie for 5th. Will not be playing the next 2 weeks over in Scotland, but I'm happy to see that he's got some good golf going.
Hold on. This dude didn't even win?
No, he did not.
But
and this is the
Jacob.
guy that impressed you the most?
He's my guy.
He's 0-85 now.
I know.
Come on. This is a problem.
That's why I said it could have gone either way.
Nobody is a killer in that sport anymore like Tiger was.
Oh, Scotty is.
Nah, Scotty's not. He's close, but he's not.
Yeah.
Come on. 0-85, and that's impressive?
I just like to see the good golf he was playing going into it.
Player that impressed me the most was O'Neal Cruz. I know there's some warts to this guy's game, and he's playing center field now when he played shortstop his whole life. But on Sunday, he uncorked a 105.2-mile-an-hour outfield assist, gunning down J.P. Crawford at the plate in the Pirates-Mariners game. It is the second fastest recorded outfield assist in the StatCast era. 2016, Aaron Hicks, who was playing for the Yankees, threw a ball 105.5 miles an hour. You're throwing the ball 105.2. That's pretty daggone impressive.
I didn't watch this game, but it blew up on my social feed because of all of the connections that I follow on Twitter with NBA and Summer League and Jacob Reimer and Ohio State hoops. But Bryce Sensabaugh had himself a game against the Philadelphia 76ers in the Salt Lake City Summer League. 19 points, 7 boards, 2 blocks. He was 7 of 13 shooting, and I just kept getting inundated at one point with just Bryce 3, Bryce 3, Bryce 3, Bryce 3.
It was fun to watch.
Have yourself a heck of a weekend there, Bryce.
It was fun.
Who disappointed, Jacob?
I'm going to stick with that game in particular with the number 5 overall pick, Ace Bailey, who was drawing all sorts of attention going into the draft, not wanting to go certain places. Well, he had 8 points in the game, was only 3 of 13 from the field, 1 of 5 from 3, did have 7 boards, but a plus-minus of -12. I know it's his only first Summer League game, but for wanting to go where you want to go, that's not the type of performance you should have.
The player who disappointed for me is the Major League Baseball All-Star selection process, and in particularly the fact that the Cincinnati Reds' Andrew Abbott is not an all-star this year. He is 7-1 on the year with a 2.15 ERA, a 1.09 WHIP. He's been one of the best pitchers in baseball all season long. He got a little late start to the season because he started the year on the injured list. And I know that he had his maybe worst start of the year on Friday against the Phillies that actually bumped his ERA up to 2.15. It was down to 1.79. And I know they're saying he'll probably be a replacement. I think it's Chris Sale that's not going to participate in the game, and Abbott will probably be the replacement. But this dude deserves to be an all-star.
Also, was ESPN showing cornhole instead of the All-Star selection show? ESPN showing the All-Star game, and there was some scuttlebutt online about, well, why not show the thing instead of cornhole? It's like, I don't know how many people want to watch like a selection show. You're kind of just reading names. What does that do for you on a 4th of July weekend? And similarly, what would cornhole do? I was disappointed with the Utah Jazz. Couldn't get in on that 7-teamer, huh? Feels like every time there's a trade involving somebody somewhere, the Utah Jazz have something to do with it. But they were not part of the 17 deal that saw Kevin Durant go to Houston.
Did the Oklahoma City Thunder pick up another first-rounder somehow in it?
It feels like neither of the teams that you would think, if you're involved in a however many team deal, could get in on that. Coach of the week, real quick, Jacob.
So this could go either way for a bunch of people, but I'm going GM Daryl Morey for the Philadelphia 76ers for not taking the bait and avoiding Ace Bailey and drafting VJ Edgecombe, who was awesome in this game that they played against each other. Had 28 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists on 50% shooting. Looked every bit of ready for the NBA level.
To me, it's Notre Dame head coach Marcus Freeman. He's had a heck of a run here in recruiting recently. You mentioned Devin Fitzgerald. They also picked up Thomas Davis Jr. and Caden Finley in this recruiting class. Furthering their line of former sons of NFL players with Jerome Bettis Jr. and Elijah Burris on the team. Their recruiting class right now is ranked 4th in the country. And Reese, maybe more importantly, as you put it, the average rating is a 92.32, which is actually better than Ohio State that is at a 92.27. Marcus Freeman's doing some things in recruiting.
Yeah, my coach of the week, Wilfried Nancy. When the goaltender for the Seattle Sounders takes a knee to the head and needs to be carted off the field in stoppage time, he didn't hesitate to the game is over. The 1-1 draw for the crew in the Seattle Sounders. But for Wilfried Nancy and the way his team is playing right now, I think they're 4th in the East. But to show that kind of class and sportsmanship yesterday to where he didn't even think about it. It's like, all right, game's over. An incredible job out of him. An incredible job out of everybody yesterday. I think it was Seattle's goalie who took the knee to the head. I think he tweeted this morning that he's doing okay. So everything good out of a very scary situation in Seattle yesterday. LSU's doing something not a lot of people are liking, but I'm here to tell you it's the start of something. It's just the beginning for what LSU might have on their jerseys this upcoming season. That's next. It's Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
Wake up with the Fan. Eat lunch with the Fan. Go to bed with the Fan. Dream about the Fan. Then change your sheets. Gross.
Ew, you guys are gross, but stick around in case I don't find anyone else.
The Fan.
We can come the day you call us.
We're 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
We make junk disappear. All you have to do is point.
Brian, I've been meaning to ask you something.
Okay, ask away.
Sometimes when we're talking, I hear a little sparkling sound.
Is it when one of us says, all you have to do is point?
There it is. Did you hear that?
That's the sound of magic happening.
Magic? Like we can come the day you call us? Wow.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
At Meijer, we're working hard to make summertime shopping a good deal better with great deals like $1.99 a pound bulk large sweet cherries, $2.99 a pound fresh from Meijer boneless skinless chicken thigh family packs. Buy 2 get 1 free 12 packs of Coca-Cola, Pepsi, 7-Up or Dr. Pepper products, plus deposit where applicable, and 3 for $6 on Meijer shredded chunk or sliced cheese. Summer is always a good deal fresher at Meijer. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
When getting the job done right is job one, you need construction equipment that's built right. From compact track loaders to the world's #1 selling compact excavator, the Kubota construction lineup features durable Kubota engines, more comfort, and the versatility to do it all and do it right. Visit your local Kubota dealer today. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Stop by Columbus Equipment in Columbus, Dayton, or Toledo to see their full line of Kubota construction equipment, or check them out online at ColumbusEquipment.com.
When you're ready to sell your car, another reason to choose Hinder Motor Company is the easy, fast, fair, and hassle-free way to sell. This is Justin Hinderer. We pay top dollar for your vehicle, whatever the make or model, and no purchase is necessary. Consider trading and get even more toward your next vehicle. Drive in today and leave with cash, or get a great deal. See why it's a pleasure doing business. Just visit HinderMotorCompany.com.
Back to Hollywood Casino Columbus and the ESPN Bet Sportsbook for an all-star game celebration and watch party. When? Tuesday, July 15th. Compete in our home run derby at 7 o'clock for a chance to win an incredible experience at an upcoming Reds game, plus a $250 gift card. So join On the Money's Dave Biddle and me, Scotty Vegas. Compete to win at 7 and enjoy the all-star game at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at 8. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu. My Computer Career, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary. Buckeye football training camp is coming. Catch live editions of Morning Juice, T-Bone, and Tyvus and Bishop and Friends starting July 31st. They'll be close enough to smell the jock straps. Live on The Fan and YouTube. Yay football.
The outdoor drama Tecumseh is back this summer. The drama, the history, and the spectacle make Tecumseh one of Ohio's most beloved traditions. Tecumseh has provided thrilling live entertainment for 50 years, and the outdoor theater at Sugarloaf Mountain will provide a safe and memorable experience for your entire family. Get tickets now at tecumsehdrama.com. This message is made possible in part by the Ohio Arts Council. Tecumseh, experience the drama.
Have you experienced foot or ankle pain during or after sports, running, or exercising at the gym? Nagging aches in your foot or ankle that won't go away? Podiatric physicians can provide you with important foot care solutions, shoe inserts, or show you how to support your feet and ankles so you're able to compete or exercise comfortably. Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association podiatric physicians are located throughout the state and have been serving the profession and the public for over 100 years. For more information or to find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association near you, visit ohiofoot.org.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Scattered showers and thunderstorms today, some with heavy downpours. Otherwise, skies will be mostly to partly cloudy with our highs in the upper 80s. For tonight, more of an isolated chance of showers and storms, otherwise mostly cloudy with lows in the 70s. And for Tuesday, again, an isolated chance of showers and thunderstorms, otherwise partly sunny with highs in the upper 80s. For The Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfolo with the 10 Weather Impact Forecast.
1, 2, 3. Here at The Fan is always football o'clock. Proud to be your home of the Buckeyes, Browns, and all the NFL games you can handle. The Fan. After putting up with Dom Tiberi for a decade, the broadcast gods gave Bo these two. This is Bishop and Friends.
And Bishop and Friends is sponsored proudly by our friends at Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 78 years. Reeser and Baker on a Monday, post-July 4th edition of the program. We'll begin our 20 most interesting college football programs coming up at 11 o'clock. We'll get Austin Ward coming up here in about 8 minutes. Texas Tech in the headlines for the first time in a long time. The lads in Lubbock landed a real big fish in the class of 2026 over the weekend in seemingly nefarious fashion. Although I don't know how nefarious it is because now the McDonald's bags can be given over the table. I'm interested to get Austin's thoughts as that Felix Ojo commits to the Red Raiders, but he was an Ohio State, target for the longest time. And was there some stringing along of Buckeye head coaches? Was there stringing along of Texas coaches before he donned the Red Raiders cap before the 4th of July weekend? I'll get Austin's thoughts on that and much more because it's now college football media day season. A report came out last year that I took notice of because it felt like the next logical step in college football programs finding money. Sportico said last June that the top patch valuation for a college football program is $6 million. And so if Wendy's or if Safelite or Roosters came to Ohio State and said, we got $6 million, we want to put our logo on your jerseys. It was... At first you go, you kind of retch a little bit. You go, I don't want that. But then you realize what the game is right now for college football. And to build up these war chests so much that you could continuously compete for the bigger fish in the sport. It only made the most sense. Sportico's report says the range for an upper tier football program is between $3.5 and $6 million. The average valuation, $4.6. For men's college basketball, it's $2.2 million. For the top 10 programs, the range is to that $2.2 million, the average valuation $1.2 million. Now, for college basketball programs, this is also coming, is advertising patches on their jerseys. The Baton Rouge Advocate had this, that LSU hopes the NCAA will allow schools to sell patches on their jerseys. Now, I think right now the NCAA does not allow for that kind of corporate sponsorship, but the NCAA has proven in the last 10 years to be toothless.
I was going to say, stop me.
Right.
I did it.
We're going to do it, is what I think LSU should do. We're going to do it. You can come back with whatever. We're still going to do it. LSU has mapped out where the patches would go on every jersey. Again, this is from Wilson Alexander of the Advocate in Baton Rouge, saying that LSU's mapped it out on the jerseys from cross country to football. So even cross country is going to be having these patches on their uniforms. And is it going to be a Raising Cane's patch on all of their varsities or all of their Division I sports? Who knows? But this is coming to Ohio State, where 36 D1 sports, all 36 individual uniforms are going to have at least one patch coming up here, maybe within the next 12 months.
And what was it a year or two ago, Reese? It was we've got Safelite Field at Ohio Stadium is the field sponsor. Like, these things are coming, and I don't understand why anybody would have a problem with this. We know some people are, because it's not the way it's always been, right? But this is one of the things, and I'm usually a traditionalist. This doesn't bother me at all. Like, we've had the Nike swoosh on the jersey forever. Who cares if on the other, other collarbone, there's a BC Rooster or, a Nationwide or a Huntington Bank. Like, who cares? On the back, so what if you lose 2 Buckeye leaves and you have a little sticker, sponsoring a company? It doesn't really – this is something that's easily hideable, and we're not going to have – it's not going to be a soccer jersey, right? where you're going to lose the number on the front and you're going to see Barbasol. I always go back to that because that was on the Crew jersey forever. But there's simple little ways to put something small on there that you're never even going to see it or realize it. Like I said, these jerseys for these bowl games or the national championship or the Rose Bowl, there's always some kind of patch on there anyway. This is something that's very easy that you're not even going to notice. It's not going to change the way you consume the game. And it's something that these schools can make a lot of money on.
It doesn't bother me as much for football because, like you're saying, like you can find places to where it's like not really it's going to be there. You know it's going to be there, but you can hide it a little bit. College basketball, it does bother me because there's not much room on the jerseys to kind of put something. I mean,
you can make it work, though.
You could, but like when you look at like a Final Four logo or when you make the tournament, you have the NCAA logo on it. It's still it takes up a large portion of the jersey.
A lot of these basketball jerseys I've seen at times would have like an American flag at the very top on the back.
Yeah.
No problem. You could put a little advertisement right there. You could put something on the shorts somewhere where it's not really seen. There's already, like I said, a Nike or Adidas or an Under Armour here. You could do the same thing over here. I don't think it's something you're ever going to notice.
I'll say this. Are you paying $6 million to be hidden on a jersey? Like if I'm a company and I'm giving you $6 and I'm giving you $5, I'm giving you $4 million, I'm not trying to have my logo hidden or at least mushed in somewhere on the jersey that doesn't take away. Like, I want you to be able to see it. Every time Jeremiah Smith makes a play, you'll better see that safe light on his chest.
But I don't think it's hidden, and you're going to see it, right?
Yeah, that's what they're paying for.
We always, like on the Ohio State basketball jersey, the Nike swoosh is usually where? On the left side?
I think so.
Right there. Like you're going to see that if there's a nationwide patch in the same spot on the right side. So I don't think it's something that's going to be hidden.
Now, to the reporting that the Baton Rouge Advocate did about LSU, a program official with the school said they don't want to have a crazy NASCAR-like situation. So it's not going to be like Ricky Bobby's jumpsuit, but it's going to have one, maybe two logos coming up. I mean, there could be helmet logos coming off of this. But, yeah, it's another way that we've got to make money. We've got to find places to make money, and these athletes' uniforms will have it on it. And I do hope, Baker, real quick, that they find a way to, as there'll be revenue sharing, let the athletes, win with a little bit of this too.
And I think, Reese, with this, an easy way to do this, Ryan Day gets shown a lot during a football game. If his patented black hat has a logo on the side, or the polo that he wears not only has a Nike swoosh in the O, but, something else there. I think it's going to be everywhere. It's not just going to be on the jerseys. It's going to be on the coaches, on the sidelines, all of that.
Can you imagine the sweater vest of Jim Tressel back in 06, 07, just having a big safe light on the other chest?
The official wing sponsor of the Ohio State University.
A fun,
Ohio
casual joint right next to that OSU logo. It's just, again, where we are in college football. We'll get Austin Ward's thoughts on those jersey patches coming up in 2 minutes. It's Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
Hey, it's Leslie from Pella Columbus.
I'm Wilson from that other window place.
One of my favorite things, Wilson, is the look on people's faces when they see the end price for Pella windows.
Yeah, I'm always hearing, does it look like I'm wearing my money breeches?
More like, I can't believe we get the Pella look and quality at these prices.
Oh, you went the other way with that. You're hearing good things. Oh, this is awkward.
Get the window that homeowners rated the leading window brand in Columbus at PellaColumbus.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. John Runyon from Runyon Dental Group. Are you missing teeth or do you have uncomfortable dentures? Dental implants can not only transform your smile, they can restore your confidence and allow you to eat those foods you love that you've been missing. When I was in my early 30s, I was in a similar situation needing complex dental work and dental implants. I understand all the emotions that you're feeling because I've been the patient and I know that we can help you. Schedule a free consultation today at RunyonDentalGroup.com. That's RunyonDentalGroup.com.
For over 78 years, our family's been part of your love stories. At Diamond Seller, we offer bigger diamonds, better prices, and timeless designs for every chapter of your life. From your first yes to your forever I do, trust the jeweler who knows diamonds best. Visit Diamond Seller today.
Hey friends, Beamer here. Looking back at my Awaken 180 goals, and buried deep on the list was to beat my guy Austin Ward at golf. Well, played in the Marysville Marathon with him on Saturday, and let's just say, mission accomplished. The biggest part, though, I wasn't lugging around those extra 75 pounds in that brutal heat while playing 36 holes. That was the real difference.
rounds, I felt my stamina was way better. I'm not saying you're going to be a scratch golfer after losing the weight, but if your Awaken 180 results are like mine, you'll be able to crush Austin too. Online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Hi, this is Ron from the Good Feet store. Are you standing on painful feet all day? Don't lose hope. We want to help you live without pain. Discover your options and visit goodfeet.com. Or stop in today at the Good Feet store on Polaris Parkway in Grove City.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
He knows everything about the Buckeyes. He's been offered tens of dollars by a certain team to spill his secrets. He's told that certain team to go to hell.
Damn you all to hell!
He's Austin Ward.
Put your eyeballs on the beat with Austin and Jeremy Birmingham on YouTube or 10 TV Plus. Also on Dotting the I's. But put your ears right now on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline, where we go now. And Austin, in the last segment, we were talking about jersey patches. I know for a lot of fans, it's, avert my eyes from this horrible corporate-infested college football. But that seems to be kind of the path we're walking down. Is there a corporate sponsor or a corporate logo? And I guess I might put you in a tough spot here, that you would be okay with seeing on a Buckeyes uniform this fall.
Yeah, I would love to see a Roosters patch right on there.
Good job out of you.
Fit in great, you know? I mean, they're already a primary sponsor of Ohio State athletics. It's a wonderful spot to watch games. I think it would fit in naturally on there. It's going to happen eventually. I don't know if Roosters can get to the level of, the national brands that would be involved in there. So if you're asking me what I'd be okay seeing, I can wrap my mind around it, and it would look kind of like some of these bowl patches. Nobody really complains about seeing those during the playoff or, the mayonnaise bowl or the Pop-Tarts bowl. Like, we've kind of gotten used to those, and those have, pretty prominent brand sponsorships on them. And I know that they're one-off, and it's not the traditional look for every single week, but this is just sort of, the road that you have to go down at this point. And I guess the fact that you've added those in the past for postseason games or for one-offs throughout a regular season, or paying tribute to players from the past, I think has given at least a look at what that might eventually look like. And I'm I don't know where you guys exactly fall on this. I'm a traditionalist, and it's hard to wrap your mind around football jerseys having that, but we're at that point already with the NBA. We've got that with Major League Baseball. NHL is putting logos on the lids. So, that's sort of the last frontier that's left. But as we get into house settlement era and revenue sharing, schools are going to continue to look for every way that they can to get a little bit more money. And at least now you can look at that and say, well, it's not just a money grab for the universities or the teams, because it's also going to the players that are actually wearing those uniforms.
Austin, with that, what is something else that you think of that's going to get sold that we wouldn't believe? Like, I know we've got Safe Light Field at the Horseshoe. Are we ever going to have, like, the nationwide Horseshoe? Like, what is something else that you could see that's going to blow people's minds?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the one, Bake. That feels like an inevitability, and you have to walk a fine line, because you're talking about one of the most recognizable brands in college football. I mean, the fact that we already call it the Horseshoe when it's really Ohio Stadium tells you that maybe there's also an opportunity that people could be okay with that. Now, maybe they won't, and I think that there will probably be a lot of vocal outrage the day that some naming rights are attached to that. That happened even just when we got to putting something on the turf and the field there. But if there is available territory for sponsors to be involved, it's going to be used. And you see that with, you're going to see that probably with the football at some point. You're like, oh, how can you do that? They're going to find a way to use every inch that's available to them. It's the way of the world. It has become such a big business. And, we can cry about it and moan and long for the good old days when it was just purely about the sport. And not every game was on TV, but college football didn't get to the level of popularity that it is now without more money coming in and business pursuits being attached to it. So I do still feel gross when I talk about games being inventory and broadcast opportunities, but that's really where we are. And when we're on July 7th, I'm really more excited than I've ever been to get to late August and then every Saturday after that, where we stop talking about the business of college football and actually get to watch them play it again.
Austin, I think it's made some people feel a little extra gross talking about high school kids having agents, where you had the agent for Felix Ojo over the weekend come out and say he signed a 3-year deal with Texas Tech valued at $5.1 million. I know the Buckeyes and the Longhorns were in on the big man out of Texas as well. There's been some reporting that he kind of strung along the coaching staffs for both the Longhorns and the Buckeyes. Is that something that you're hearing as well?
Yeah, in the way that it worked out, though, there's also been a little bit of pushback that, maybe the way that Felix Ojo performed at some of the, camps over the summer, the Rivals camp, I think a month or so ago, wasn't really blowing away the coaching staff. I mean, you can take that with a grain of salt. I don't think it's meant to sour grapes, but as that process went along and the dollar amount stayed at the level it was or got even larger with Texas Tech involved, I think Ohio State was like, I'm not sure that what he's doing right now meets that level of demand or, financial constraints for a salary cap figure, especially on this position in the offensive line. I've told you guys, many times before, Ohio State has been reticent to give that kind of money up front for a left tackle, for an offensive lineman, when they're highly unlikely to play as a true freshman. If you need them to play as a true freshman, that's problematic for the way you've been developing the rest of your roster. So when you start talking about 7 figures for someone to sit on the bench for a true freshman year, Ohio State gets a little bit wary about that. I think I agree with their approach that they should not be spending that, on quote-unquote rookie deals, freshman deals, a new thing that we're going to have to get used to talking about for college football players, I guess, in this new era. You're just better used spending that money on transfer portal guys. Like, think about what they did with Josh Simmons or now Ethan Onyanwa last year for Ohio State. It's not, you don't want to live in the transfer portal, and Ohio State definitely wants to land high 4- and 5-star offensive linemen, and they're going to pay more for those guys than I think they were wanting to do in the past, but they're not going to skew their salary cap figures. They're not going to go into 7 figures for someone who's not going to play right away, when the other option is to evaluate the very best that could be out there in the transfer portal, get them in there in December or January, and get rolling into a spring camp. I think that that's the right way, especially if you're balancing that out by continuing to recruit, 3 or lower 4 stars from the Midwest. Look at what's happening with Austin Sarabeld here, in the way that he has turned into it. You got one right. You can take a few chances on those guys, see what pans out, who develops, who's got the mentality for it, who's invested in the long run for their career at Ohio State. And mixing and matching that, I think, is probably the right strategy. It doesn't make it feel any better when you watch Texas Tech, leap off the top rope from out of nowhere and win a recruitment against 2 powerhouses. But those things are going to happen. And if those numbers are accurate, it's going to be pretty difficult for Texas Tech to build a competitive roster around Felix Ojo down the road. So interested to see how that plays out. But, I continue to believe that Ohio State's got a blueprint in place that is going to work out for them in the long run.
The last couple of years, Austin, Larry Johnson has faced some criticism, fair or not, but he's had a pretty good couple weeks here, landing commitments from Damari Simeon and Cameron Brickell last weekend, then flipping Glenville product Jameer Perez from Florida to Ohio State this weekend. Obviously, some emphasis on the interior of that defensive line. Larry Johnson's 73, and he's still getting it done out on the recruiting trail at a pretty high level. How much longer of Larry Johnson do you think we have, and how much should we maybe be appreciating what he's done for Ohio State, because it could be gone at any moment?
Yeah, I really thought, Bake, that Larry Johnson would go out on a high note last year, to be honest with you. Only Larry Johnson knows how long he wants to keep doing it. And I watched him operate at those recruiting camps, the one-day camps last month, and he looked re-energized by what happened. It wasn't like that was the final piece of his resume, sending off Jack JT, Tyreek Williams, Ty Hamilton to the NFL, claiming another national championship ring, solidifying his claim as maybe the best defensive line position coach that college football has ever seen. I thought given, the challenge of reloading and replacing that entire group, that would be like, hey, you know what, I'm good here. I am into my 70s. The recruiting is a grind. Developing is a grind. I'm ready to be done. But he certainly does not seem to be taking that approach at all. And you look at the success that he's had in the last couple of weeks on the recruiting trail, that has been the real question over the last couple of years. How much passion, how much energy does his more old school approach still resonate? And, we can't ignore the fact that we spent the last 6 months talking about the depth of defensive tackle for the 2025 Ohio State Buckeyes. And are they going to be able to get to the level they were a year ago? Did they need to go into the transfer portal? There had been misses, both at defensive end, where Ohio State took 2 ends out of the transfer portal, one in the winter window, one in the post-spring camp window. Didn't do that at defensive tackle, which puts a lot of pressure there on Jason Moore and Tywan Malone, Will Smith Jr., Marquez Carter to get up there and, supplement what you're going to get from Edric Houston and Caden McDonald. So, again, I think that's a reflection of maybe some rediscovered energy there, that it's not just about those 15 practices in spring and training camp and building guys throughout the year. And Larry Johnson, I think, has taken that challenge to heart, and the results are starting to show up there on the trail again this summer.
Catch the Beat with Austin and Jeremy Birmingham on YouTube and on 10 TV Plus, wherever else it is you do your podcasting. Austin, thanks so much for the time today, bud. We'll catch up with you next Monday.
Appreciate you guys. See ya.
And he joins us courtesy of the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. If Ryan Day did this, things would be even hotter for his seat. We'll discuss that next with Thing or Not a Thing. It's Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
Big Voice Guy here to remind you that you're listening to The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Okay, thanks. I have 3 more seconds. Bye-bye.
When you speed, you have less time to react. Follow the speed limit to keep other road users safe. Speeding catches up with you. Paid for by NHTSA.
This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, where we've successfully treated thousands of men for low testosterone and helped them feel like their old selves again. Please take a moment and listen to how we helped Chad.
Hi, I'm Chad. I've been taking the low T treatment at Tri-State Men's Health for a little under a year now. So I was really just struggling with finding the energy to accomplish the things I wanted to do every day. By the end of the workday, I was very drained and tired and found it hard to concentrate and get my job done, and was looking for something to kind of get that edge back. Once I started taking the treatment, I felt probably within the first 2 to 3 weeks more energy. And the thing that really I noticed right away was sleeping. Now I get a solid 8 hours. I'm going on vacation. I'm enjoying myself. So men out there, if you're struggling with any of the symptoms I was, low energy, brain fog, lack of sleep, I would highly recommend you call Tri-State Men's Health. You won't regret it.
Thanks, Chad. It's true. Low T therapy will likely change your life. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com.
Cool car, cool people, good time. It's the biggest and best hot rodding event of the year. The Good Guys 27th Summit Racing Nationals, presented by PPG. All this weekend at the Ohio Expo Center in Columbus. Over 6,000 classics from across the USA. Shop the swap meet at Huge Fender Midway. See which rides take home the crown of the 2025 Classic Instrument Street Rods and PPG Street Machine of the Year. All this weekend at the Ohio Expo Center. Details at good-guys.com.
At Delta Dental of Ohio, we understand oral and vision health is connected to overall well-being. With Delta Dental and Delta Vision, you get affordable, comprehensive coverage from a name you know and trust. Our plans are designed to keep your teeth strong and vision clear, so you can confidently smile at life. 2 great plans, 1 name you can trust. Learn more at deltadentaloh.com.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm going to have to find a new genius, or 2 half geniuses, and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Dick's Deal Days are happening now. You won't want to miss our biggest sale of the summer. Scorecard members earn a $20 bonus reward on your purchase of $150 or more. Plus, 3 days of amazing savings start Tuesday. Check out offers from brands like Nike, Adidas, Hoka, and Stanley. And check back daily for new one-day deals Tuesday through Thursday. Score the season's hottest savings before they're gone on July 10th. Shop in the app and on Dicks.com. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
All your favorite fan shows are on YouTube, along with those fake YouTube ads like Chew This Gum and It Grows New Teeth. Experience the splendor of Bo sitting in his closet, Timmy Hall's gouty gold chains, and Matty Ice wearing a coat in 90-degree weather. It's all there. Head to YouTube and subscribe today.
Thinking about buying your first home? Now, with Third Federal, you can buy your first home and pay no PMI. Hi, I'm Mark Stefanski, Chairman and CEO of Third Federal. Private mortgage insurance, or PMI, can cost thousands of dollars over the life of your loan. And you may not realize PMI doesn't protect you. It only protects the lender in case of default. But at Third Federal, you can buy a home with just 5% down and no PMI. Plus, first-time home buyers get $750 off a closing cost. So if you're thinking about buying your first home, go for it and visit thirdfederal.com.
Even before you find a home, lock in 6.44%, APR 6.47% on a 30-year fixed-rate purchase mortgage. Visit thirdfederal.com or call 1-800-THIRD-FED today. APR reflects 15% down for $350,000 loan amount. Rate requires automatic payment program and is subject to change. Restrictions apply. See conditions for closing cost coupon at thirdfederal.com/FTHB. Equal housing lender.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Pull up a stool and ask the bartender for something neat, because Uncle Bo is on the radio. This is Bishop and Friends.
Yes, it is. Reeser and Baker rolling along on a Monday. Time for Thing or Not a Thing.
Thing or Not a Thing.
Sponsored by Billiards Plus. Find your next grill and everything you need for the master griller. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Last week, Alabama.com reported that Auburn head coach Hugh Freeze logged more than 10 rounds into the USGA's Golf Handicap and Information Network in the first 20 days of June. The report adds that Freeze has exceeded the number of public rounds the system displays, which means he's played more than 20 rounds in the calendar year. Auburn fans, noting the Tigers' struggles on the recruiting trail, are not thrilled. 3 prospects decommitted from Auburn in the last month. 4-star wide receiver Devin Carter, 4-star linebacker Shadarius Tootle, and 3-star wide receiver Denarius Gray. Auburn's class of 2026 is currently ranked 87th nationally by 24/7 Sports. That's 15th out of 16 SEC teams. Alabama's landed 12 new commitments since the start of June. Thing or not a thing?
I don't know if this is a thing for Auburn or not. I mean, you've got to get guys in your recruiting classes, right? But there's such a renewed emphasis on the transfer portal. I mean, who's to say some of these golfing rounds that Hugh Freeze has played, he wasn't doing recruiting on those in some way, shape, form, or fashion. I don't know. Maybe Hugh Freeze is a little older school and just doesn't want to do the new college football. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure for Auburn fans right now, this is a huge thing, and they're ridiculously upset that their head coach is golfing and not recruiting. At least that's the way it's perceived.
Yeah, I think it certainly is a thing, especially for Auburn fans, because they have had 2 pretty strong recruiting classes ranking-wise the last 2 years, and now going into this year when you can try to build off of that and actually have something going, your coach is out playing golf and losing recruits at the same time, where Auburn could be getting back to where they once were at the beginning of 2010s. But I don't know. I mean, the guy just wants to golf, you know?
Which is fine, but in the month of June especially, and you saw the flurry of commitments that are happening nationally over the last weekend, the frequency is the biggest problem, right? Because you golf once in June, once in May. You golf once a month. Like, I'm sure Ryan Day's golfed a couple of times in this calendar year. I think everybody's earned the right to in college football. Right. So you've earned it, but for that kind of a frequency, especially when you're getting crushed in-state, losing in-state commitments, the biggest fish in the state of Alabama, to Alabama, who I think is right now 5th in the class of 2026, it then turns to, okay, you've got to do it on the field. Does anybody have any faith in Auburn this year in the SEC?
I don't. Certainly don't, especially for how deep the SEC is.
Right. If they're what?
You mentioned Alabama 5th. I'm going all the way down this list. I'm to 50.
Yep.
And I have to hit reefer load more, and I still don't see Auburn.
I mean, Vanderbilt's doing a better job right now than you are on the trail. And probably the most important month for recruiting, you're hitting the links, which, again, is fine if you're winning on the field.
I think there were a few other SEC coaches that had logged rounds on the USGA thing. I think, like, the South Carolina coach had logged a couple rounds, Kentucky's coach, but it's definitely...
I think it's the frequency that's bugging people, because I think you're right. Like, South Carolina's head coach, Shane Beamer, has logged a couple of rounds into that system. Baker, have you logged ever a round of golf or several into the USGA's Golf Handicap Information Network?
No.
Okay. This was the first I'd heard of it by looking at the scuttlebutt from Tigers fans about this.
And here's the thing. If Auburn has 20 commits right now, this isn't a thing, but they have 7. Yeah. And they're ranked 86th. That's not great. Doesn't look good. I wonder how many Ryan has logged. We know he got to play out at the Pro-Am at Muirfield for the Memorial, but I wonder how many rounds Ryan has logged this offseason.
Hugh Freeze in his second season was 5-7 overall, 2-6 in the SEC. Trying to see their only conference, or their conference win. Wow, they beat Texas A&M in 4 overtimes. That was back in November, and then they beat Kentucky 24-10. Man, that Ole Miss loss to Kentucky looks even worse the further you get back from that season, and the fact that Auburn was able to get at them, but they are 2-6 in the SEC. And so, I mean, again, frequency is the biggest thing. On a recent live stream, Mavericks guard Kyrie Irving was asked if he'd be ready to return from his torn ACL by the time the 2026 NBA playoffs start.
Will you be back by playoffs? Don't hold your breath on that. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't mean that I won't be back. It's just I don't want to make any predictions on when I'm going to be back. I just want to be back 150,000% better. So I'm taking my time right now to really get healthy. I'm taking my time to really get my body right, other portions of my body right, and really just enjoy this recovery process, man. It's not pretty. Yes, it is a beautiful struggle, but I go through kind of the mental roller coaster ride of every day. Just want to be back out there.
Thing or not a thing?
I think the first thing that I thought of was that new contract extension he just signed in 3 years, $119 million. You would have to think that Dallas knew, right, that this was a possibility as he suffered the torn ACL on March 3rd of this past season. So you have to think he's going to miss at least part of this season, maybe close to the whole thing. But yeah, I mean, this is a thing because you can't rush back from this. And we've just seen this, right? Even though it's a different injury with all these guys having calf injuries and then they're popping their Achilles, you've got to take the time, especially someone at Kyrie's age. He's not on the younger side of a basketball player anymore. So this is something that he needs to make sure he's totally 100% ready to go. You can't rush back. Even if the Mavericks do push for a playoff spot this year, you can't rush back just to make sure you're there to help your team. You've got to make sure you're healthy and ready to go before you come back.
It's not much of a thing to me just because, don't rush it back. They have a chance to build off of getting that number 1 pick in Cooper Flagg. You also don't know how often is Anthony Davis going to be around because he's always had health issues, it seems like. And you just got Cooper Flagg. You just brought in D'Angelo Russell. They'll probably still fight for a play-in spot just because of the names on the roster and the talent that they have. But they could really be a true contender when Kyrie does come back fully healthy, 100% or even more the next season potentially. And they signed Ryan Nembhard out of Gonzaga, went undrafted. I think he could be a really nice piece for them to have to develop and to build into the year after this.
We also got D'Angelo Russell in that 2-year, $13 million deal. So, yeah, it's good for honestly, then Phil pointed this out in the YouTube chat, like Kyrie sounds really happy there. And that's good that everything's working and going well for him upstairs, and that I think he's tempering expectations, because everything that you mentioned about what the Dallas Mavericks have done would give fans, especially in that city, who might need a little bit of a boost with that basketball team, they just, temper the expectations, but he'll probably be ready for the playoffs next year. Our 20 most interesting college football programs begins with Texas Tech. That's next. It's Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
Oh, hey, the best football team in the country's on the best radio station in the country. Congratulations, Buckeyes. Here's to 100 more years together. Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Let's be honest, we could all use a little vacation from the ordinary. But with Tim Hortons' new refreshers, you don't need to pack your bags. Just sip, relax, and enjoy your refreshing 16-ounce vacation. With tropical mango packed with real pineapple and mango pieces. And strawberry watermelon kiwi featuring real pieces of strawberry and kiwi. Also, try it with lemonade or coconut milk. A choose-your-own taste bud adventure. Head to Tim's for the new refreshers. Your 16-ounce vacation awaits. Only at your neighborhood Tim Hortons. At participating U.S. restaurants.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
Choose from payments as low as $99 a month or 12 months with no payments and no interest, plus a free in-home window and energy assessment. Restrictions apply. Give them a call. 614-502-5220.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
Hi, I'm Dr. John Runyon from Runyon Dental Group. Are you missing teeth, or do you have uncomfortable dentures? Dental implants can not only transform your smile, they can restore your confidence and allow you to eat those foods you love that you've been missing. When I was in my early 30s, I was in a similar situation needing complex dental work and dental implants. I understand all the emotions that you're feeling because I've been the patient, and I know that we can help you. Schedule a free consultation today at RunyonDentalGroup.com. That's RunyonDentalGroup.com.
At QC Kinetics, we're all about keeping you in the game, helping you get lasting relief from joint pain. That's why we're excited to announce that QC Kinetics is now partnering with the National Pickleball League. So many of our satisfied patients are avid pickleball players, and they're thrilled with how we've helped them get back on the court. As lead sponsor of the National Pickleball League, we're committed to help pickleball fans of all ages with the latest, most advanced regenerative cell treatments. These treatments use your body's own healing power, revitalizing and restoring damaged joint tissue the natural way, with no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. Whether you're a pickleball fanatic or enjoy golf or running or tennis, stay in the game with help from QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics, proud to promote active, pain-free living as a lead sponsor of the National Pickleball League. Call now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544.
This radio commercial was made to convince you to stop speeding. We can't use siren sound effects on the radio, so we'll use other equally jarring sound effects to get your attention. Like telling you that whether you drive a little over the speed limit or a lot, you can crash just the same. You could hurt yourself or worse, others.
I'm at the scene of the collision.
And the damage you cause will be beyond repair. See? We didn't have to use crash or siren sounds after all. Speeding catches up with you. Brought to you by NHTSA.
I'm an old school Joe. I never lay juice I don't want to lay. I don't hate my money like that. I'd rather lay minus 108 than minus 110, wouldn't you? Prime Sports is Ohio's full-time reduced juice sportsbook. Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com. Get a welcome bonus to match your initial deposit up to $400 in bonus bets. And be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit website for details. Must be 21 and present in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
I went hands-free.
I went hands-free.
I went hands-free.
I went hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins.
Join the millions of people who are celebrating going hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins. Footwear you just step into and they're on.
It's crazy how something as simple as a pair of shoes have made my life better.
After trying Skechers Slip-ins, I want all my shoes to have this technology.
See what everybody can't stop talking about. Go hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Hey, Joe Fortenbaugh here. Whether you're locking in your home run picks or riding with your favorite golfers this summer, ESPN Bet is your sportsbook for all the action. Go from checking stats on your favorite teams and players to placing bets in just a few taps. Plus, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet app and sign up with the promo code JOEQ to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. Guardians third baseman Jose Ramirez was named an All-Star for the 7th time in his career. Rosters for the AL and NL were announced yesterday for next Tuesday's All-Star game in Atlanta. Guardians outfielder Stephen Kwan earned an All-Star nod for the 2nd time as an AL reserve. It's also the 2nd time for Red shortstop Ellie De La Cruz and earned an NL reserve nod. On the field yesterday, the Phillies beat the Red Legs 3-1 to take the rubber match of their 3-game set. Cincinnati's going to host Miami tonight at 7:10. You can hear that game on the Fan following the Buckeye Show. As for the Guardians, Cleveland lost their 10th straight, a 7-2 L to the Tigers in 10 yesterday. Guardians are in Houston tonight versus the Astros at 8:10. And in NBA news, Kevin Love's been traded to the Utah Jazz as part of a 3-team deal involving the Heat and the Clippers. The 36-year-old Love appeared in just 23 games with the Heat last season. Breaking sports news when it happens on the Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Our top men are working on everything except this show.
We have top men working on it right now. Who? Top men.
You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Oh, top men are out this week. You've got Reeser and Baker, Jacob Reimer rolling along with us all through Friday. And then you're going to Florida, which I'm sure you're looking forward to.
Is correct. Hey, as much as I said I don't know what to do when there's nothing to do, in Florida, I know what to do. Eat good food.
Nothing.
Drink nice drinks and float in water.
Yeah, when you're on vacation, are you a plan everything out every single day kind of guy, or a 1 or 2 things we have to do each day, or nothing? We're here and we're going to just go with it.
Reese, I'm not a plan everything out guy every day of my life, let alone on vacation. No, and this one vacation is, and you, I don't mind working ever. I love working. I love making money. Sure. I love what we do here in all aspects of it. But this is my 1 week to just do nothing and decompress and get me ready for football season and the rest of the year. So, no, there's nothing I have to do except get up in the morning, walk on the beach, eat breakfast, and then float.
Will there be any golf played?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This is not, I don't need that frustration on vacation.
I was about to say, like, you're trying to have fun and relax.
Yeah, this is not this is a week of nothingness.
When you return, it'll be ACC and Big Ten media days, as the Big 12 are the first of the Power Four to get their media days going tomorrow and Wednesday. They'll be at Dallas Cowboys International Headquarters in Frisco, Texas. The SEC Media Days are going to be July 14th through Thursday, July 17th at the College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta. The ACC Media Days are happening in Charlotte, North Carolina, Tuesday, July 22nd. That's the same day the Big Ten Media Days start, July 22nd, at the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino in Las Vegas. Boy, nothing screams Big Ten football more like the fountains of the Bellagio and everything on the Strip.
I mean, we got to help out Oregon, Washington, USC, UCLA.
It is a quick trip for them. That is very true.
Listen, there's nothing wrong with going to Vegas, right? For Big Ten, let's go. I mean, it's a good trip.
Look, if it's a free trip for everybody involved, sure.
All the Ohio State beat will love that.
I guess we'll have to ask. I'm going to see if Dom's going out there for it. I can't imagine he is. When we have him on tomorrow at 10:30, I know Austin is, but Dommy, I don't know if you can talk him into a mid-July or I guess late July trip out to the desert. But the Big Ten and the ACC are going to be the final two. The Big 12 feels pretty gettable this season. And that's where we will start with our 20 most interesting programs and a team that's maybe on the up and up.
As college football draws near, Bishop and Friends present the 20 most interesting programs. Spoiler alert, Rutgers isn't one of them.
That's actually true. I can tell you definitively, Rutgers will not be among the 20 most interesting programs.
Not this year.
No. Or maybe any year. Any year ever. The Red Raiders of Texas Tech are your first program of 20, so we'll have 19 more. One of them's probably Ohio State. Last season for the Red Raiders, 8-3 overall, 6-3 in the Big 12. It was the third season for one Joey McGuire.
My question to both of you, before you started getting ready for this segment today, did you know who the Texas Tech head coach was?
I did not.
I know the basketball head coach.
We're not talking basketball.
Who is the basketball head coach?
Grant McCaslin.
Okay.
But no, I did not know.
You could have made that up and just said whoever, and I'd been like, sure.
Joey McGuire, like that almost sounds like a 90s rom-com actor storyline person. I don't know. Like that's, I had no clue when I pulled out the Phil Steele college football guide last night and saw the head coach. I had no clue it was Joey McGuire.
I did know who Cody Campbell was. And he is, if you've seen Landman, John Hamm's character, Monty Miller, that's who Cody Campbell is. So Campbell played offensive line for the Red Raiders in the early 2000s. And then between like 06 and 2023, he owned oil in the Permian Basin. He owned mineral rights to, I can't really explain the whole thing well because even I don't understand it, how smaller oil companies work. But I do understand he sold his company to an even bigger company and now has a couple $1 billion attached to his name and wants to use that money to fund the Red Raiders and their NIL collective in the future. So Texas Tech in the offseason pretty much revamped their roster. So when they went 8-3 last season, they're bringing back their quarterback, Baron Morton. Coy Eakin comes back. He's their leading wide receiver from last season. But they added Quentin Joyner out of the transfer portal. He's a running back at USC. They picked up 19 other players. Like, this is a pretty transformative roster turnover for the Red Raiders. 21 portal additions while assembling the nation's second-ranked transfer class. ESPN's Max Olson reported in February the Red Raiders spent more than $10 million on 17 new players in the winter transfer portal window alone. Now, you remember Kurt Signetti had a couple of teams that he snitched about in terms of $35 to $40 million rosters. So Ohio State, Texas, Oregon, he threw out Texas Tech. And that led me going, what the hell, how does this happen? Well, our guest at 11:30, Shayhan Jaraja, he's a national college football reporter at CBS, has a ton of great reporting on the Red Raiders and this resurgence. One of the articles that I read, West Texas boom, inside Texas Tech's bold all-in bet on NIL and the billionaire landman responsible. Shehan will join us at 11:30. We'll talk about that. And just for a school, for a team that puts that much money into transfer portal additions, that $5.1 million for that lineman that they pulled over the weekend, Baker, what for you would be a return on in that investment in year one of this boom?
I think you want to see a team that's competing for a Big 12 championship, right? Maybe a team that gets to a Big 12 championship game. You talk about they're the second-ranked portal class. They've got 21 incoming transfers, and as you look at it, it looked like the two spots they hit really hard, Reese, were the trenches.
Yeah.
They went hard on the offensive line and hard on the D-line in this group. They've got 13 4-stars that are coming in, 8 3-stars, an average player rating of 89.48. And I believe with all of these guys coming in, and they're a lot of these guys are expected to start on this Texas Tech team. And with all these transfer portal additions that they made, they're one of the most experienced teams in college football this year. Now, obviously, not all of that experience played for the Red Raiders last year, but they do have an experienced group this season.
From Shehan's reporting, this was in 2024 of July. Cody Campbell called a meeting with football coach Joey McGuire, their general manager James Blanchard, and select other Texas Tech administrators and their director of athletics Kirby Hocutt in his private conference room. He laid out a big idea, quote, paying players is legal. Paying players, easy for me to say, is legal. There's no cap. After this season, de facto free agency will open. There's no guarantee this world will last forever. When players enter the transfer portal, we should be ready to pounce. And so the reported goal is to finish with the top 5 transfer class and supercharge the roster in time for the Big 12 race. So top 2, the second highest ranked, mission accomplished so far. The Big 12 is wide open as hell this season.
Very wide open.
And Texas Tech's schedule plays out pretty well for the Red Raiders. Their non-conference, I'm going to call a joke. You got Arkansas Pine Bluff, Kent State, and Oregon State. All 3 of those games are at home.
Golden Flashes? No faith in the Golden Flashes?
Not flash fast enough to beat the Texas Tech Red Raiders in their $40 million roster. Marquee games, I would say, for the Red Raiders include September 20th, they're at Utah, and then October 18th, they're at Arizona State, the defending Big 12 champions. Wait a minute.
Yeah. You mentioned the Big 12 being wide open, and it became a lot more wide open last week when BYU's quarterback announces that he's transferring from the school and leaving, obviously under investigation. So, yeah, the Big 12, Utah, we don't know what they're going to have. It's the post-Cam Rising era for them. We know that Leavitt is returning at Arizona State at quarterback, but they're losing Scatabo and some other guys as well. I'm a big believer in Kenny Dillingham, though, so I think they'll be there. But, yeah, you could pick probably 6 teams here and say they're going to win the Big 12 this year, and I don't think it'd be a shock.
You've also got, for the Red Raiders, a November 8th matchup hosting Brigham Young. This is an easy schedule for the Red Raiders. I think last week or maybe 2 weeks ago, their over-under was set at 7.5 in terms of their wins going into this season. It's very easy to see them 9, 10 wins and then make at least a Big 12 championship game appearance. We will do the categories for the Red Raiders coming up next. It's Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
We used to have a billboard with our host's face on it, but only ugly people work here now.
You mama say you ugly, hey!
The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Say goodbye to car care headaches with Carvenience from Hinderer Motor Company. This is Justin Hinderer. For only $49, we'll pick up your vehicle, leave you with a rental, and return it fully serviced and spotless. No more juggling your schedule or wasting hours at the shop. Carvenience lets you focus on what matters while we take care of all the rest, making life easier. Schedule your service today at HindererMotorCompany.com.
Stay hydrated. It's hot out there. So my teenage son just went out in sweatpants and a hoodie. It's 98 degrees. At least I know he'll be cool in our house, thanks to Atlas Butler. If something goes wrong, they'll fix it within 24 hours. They call it their comfort pledge. Get too hot?
My phone.
Oh, your phone. Should have known.
Atlas Butler is at your service. Call 1-800-FURNACE.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone for Window Nation. Did you know their co-founders are Ohio natives? Well, you should. Window Nation has been replacing windows in the Columbus region for over 15 years. Not only does Window Nation know what windows work best for Ohio homeowners like you, they're also local to the area. And right now, you can take advantage of Window Nation's biggest sale of the year. Remember this number, 50% off. All window styles, all from Window Nation. 50% off plus 0 interest for 5 whole years. Yeah, I said that. 5 whole years, 2030. No interest on the windows from Window Nation. Plus, they'll install your new windows in 1 day or less. Get the windows you want for 50% off plus no interest until 2030. What are you waiting for? Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com today to get your free quote on replacement windows. Again, I can't stress this enough. You do not want to miss out on this deal. 866-90-NATION or windownation.com. And tell them T-Bone sent you.
You had a solid retirement dream. Sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But with an unpredictable economy and the future feeling uncertain, you're wondering if that equity will still be there when you're ready. What if you could bank that equity right now? With Truehold, you can sell your home for its current value so you can access your equity today. You can bank the cash now and stay in the home you love with an easy standard lease. Truehold even covers property taxes, insurance, and repairs. And since Truehold hands over your equity in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Don't let a shifting economy put your hard-earned equity at risk. Visit Truehold.com and receive their competitive offer on your home in just 48 hours, based on its current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's Truehold.com.
Some journeys start small, with small pause and big purpose.
Look how little you sweet girl.
Every great partnership begins with the first step.
Bella, let's go.
Guiding them through the world so one day they can guide someone through life. With shared experience, confidence grows, and the path becomes clear. It takes time, patience, and love. But the reward lasts a lifetime.
Good girl, Bella.
You don't just raise a puppy. You raise a future. Become a Dogs Inc. puppy raiser. Give a dog a purpose. Give someone hope.
Learn more at dogsinc.org.
If you miss a little, you'll miss a lot. Search for your favorite fan shows wherever you get your podcasts and subscribe. Every episode comes right to your phone absolutely free. Modern technology, it's a hell of a thing. Do it now. The Fan.
Summer is in full swing. If you think you're hot, well, so are your trees. You can help your trees by watering them, especially if they're newly planted. During the hot, dry summer months, your trees could use a water boost. Watering new trees a few times a week will help them survive while they're developing their root system, so don't forget about them. To find out more about watering trees or to find a certified arborist near you, go to treesforohio.org. That's trees, the number 4, ohio.org.
Got a teen athlete? Then you know putting in the hours is all part of the game. But did you know the same goes for learning how to drive? Because just like playing a sport, learning to drive takes practice. The only difference is the stakes are even higher. 50 hours of practice time driving with you? Worth every minute. Gear up at teachyourteentodrive.ohio.gov.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Scattered showers and thunderstorms today, some with heavy downpours. Otherwise, skies will be mostly to partly cloudy with our highs in the upper 80s. For tonight, more of an isolated chance of showers and storms, otherwise mostly cloudy with lows in the 70s. And for Tuesday, again, an isolated chance of showers and thunderstorms, otherwise partly sunny with highs in the upper 80s. For The Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfalo with the 10 Weather Impact Forecast.
All the Ohio State conversation you can handle. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
Your Ohio State flagship station. The Fan. If you love a good pie analogy,
think of the cap as a pie. And once you take out one piece, there's less left for the next guy.
Then this is the radio show for you. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
So just real quick, as we were talking in the last segment about still BYU quarterback Jake Retzlaff, he had the charges of sexual assault dropped, but has yet to officially enter the transfer portal. So this is from Pete Nakos on 3. As of Sunday, he is still a BYU quarterback. So the plan is he's going to enter. It'll just be very interesting right now in July to see where he lands, because it doesn't feel like the days we go further into July, it does him any good to still be floating in the portal.
Yeah, and I guess there's no portal open right now for him to enter, so
it does feel like
made his intentions known that
he could do it and then tell the NCAA, or the school that he lands at could tell the NCAA, do something about it. And likely, again, because I think now the enforcement body of college athletics is the College Sports Commission. It's July 7th, but I don't think we've seen, again, being off Thursday and Friday of last week, I didn't see anything come through where the CSC was like, no, now we're handling rules and or enforcement. So I think if I were the team that wanted to get Retzlaff's services, I'd just be like, yeah, just come on over and we'll deal with the repercussions if the NCAA wants to do anything about it. So for our 20 most interesting college football programs, we will start with the categories for Texas Tech. That's Fight Raiders Fight. the Texas Tech fight song. And what we'll do as we go through these categories is I'll give a little bit of an explainer as to what they are. Now, we are assigning grades, but really only one gets an actual letter grade. We'll start with NIL portal grade, Baker.
So we are grading what they've done in the portal this year.
Correct.
And as we've just talked about, they are number 2 in the 24/7 portal rankings. They've gotten 21 commits. We mentioned just under 90 on the rating from those players. 13 of those players 4 stars. A couple of those guys, some pretty good players that have had production in other places. And I mentioned it looks like they really went hard on the offensive and defensive lines as well. Some guys that are coming in that may not start on the offensive line. One of those, a pretty cool tie here, Will Jados from Miami University. He is a Westerville Central kid. He is going down there. He's penciled in right now, it looks like, to be their backup right tackle. So a guy that they brought in from the portal that may not be a starter this year, but will still give them depth and hopefully be something they can use later on down the line. I think if you're the number 2 class right now in the rankings, I feel like I've got to give you an A. Yep. I think that's an A in the portal because you're one of the top 2 teams here.
Yeah, I'm with you. They've absolutely killed it. You're up there at the top of the portal, which is very hard to navigate for some people, and they're going all in trying to build a powerhouse down there in Lubbock.
$10 million reportedly by ESPN on 17 players in the winter portal window. That does earn you an A in my book. The next category, would Buddy Garrity want to run their collective grade? Now, for those unfamiliar, Buddy Garrity is the bagman for the Dillon Panthers, Buddy Garrity Automotive in West Texas of Friday Night Lights fame. And so in this example, you would have Buddy Garrity wanting to run the Texas Tech collective. I give that an A. You would absolutely want to run that collective.
Can you get anything higher than an A+?
That would be for you?
Because I think it's, whatever's higher than an A+, this is one of those schools when you talk about unlimited resources, or what seems to be, they are one of them. So the highest grade possible, that they get.
Yep, I'm with you guys. They got the Matador Club down there for their NIL funds. So you got all the oil coming in. It's an A for me.
Yeah, I guess this is the second. And, well, we'll do a few more letter grades here. I misspoke when I had said this is only 1 letter grade provided. But campus social life grade, Lubbock, Texas.
So I'm going to have to admit here that I've never been to Lubbock, Texas. But the couple things that I do know about Lubbock, Texas is it's in the middle of nowhere. There's really anything close to Lubbock, and it's really damn hot. So for me, I've got to be low on this. I've got to give this a D. For me personally, this would be nothing I would want to do on that part of it.
From what I was reading in the couple hours before the show, diving into Texas Tech football and Lubbock, that they have a pretty good bar scene. So
okay,
there's that. But I was shocked to learn that they are 4.5 hours away from the closest metro city in Texas, which is Fort Worth. Like that, it is way out there.
You're out there.
And it's just a reminder of how big Texas really is.
Like, I believe it's closer to Albuquerque than anything.
So. Yeah.
It would have to, I guess, for the right price, get you to go out there. A C for me, I've never been, so I can't speak too much to it, but that seems like an island.
Are you saying $5.1 million?
Over 3 years? You might get me to listen. Do they wear the right uniforms grade? This was their first year for the Red Raiders with their Adidas sponsorship.
So I will say this, I don't love the Adidas look to these. I don't know what it is, but it almost just looks cartoonish to me. It's bigger font on the jersey. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I feel like the Under Armour Patrick Mahomes jerseys were a little better. I do think that their black helmet, white jersey, black pants is pretty crisp looking. I think that's the best. I don't love it when they go all black or they do the red or whatnot. I think these uniforms are just pretty average to me, so averages a C, so that's what I give it.
I did the same thing.
Yeah, I like the color scheme for them, but I'm the same way. The design and everything, it's not for me.
Are you with me, Reese, on the Adidas part that it just doesn't look, it looks different? Like it looked better when it was the Under Armour?
I don't know if better's the right word. I think all Under Armour or all Adidas did was increase the font and add stripes to where for Under Armour you had more streaks on their uniforms. I think because we're so fond of the older looking Texas Tech with Michael Crabtree and with Patrick Mahomes that this new look, not great. I like the Red Raiders for their red uniforms and their black helmets across the front. Font's huge, but I think that helps you know who you're playing or that helps you know who this person is. But they were average back then. I think they're still average now. All right. Which player off their team would we want in scarlet and gray?
The one for me is one of their transfers. It's defensive end David Bailey. He comes in from Stanford. He had 7 sacks last year. And this, Reese, I really like. 5 forced fumbles. You hear Tyvis talk about all the time, like, taking the ball away from the other team is the best way to get them off the field. And I like a defensive end that's obviously putting some pressure on and can strip that football. Big guy, 6'4", 250 pounds. Seems like a prototypical college defensive end. Get him here with body by Marati. He'd probably get up to about 260, maybe get a little faster. So David Bailey, defensive end, is the guy that I would want.
Now, if this were for basketball, I'd have a couple guys that I'd want to come to Columbus. But
this is football.
Yeah, for football, no, there's not really anybody that moves the needle for me to come up here.
Yeah, outside of that end that you talked about, that's about it. Everybody else, like, you're good. Because there's so much transition. There's so many portal persons. All right, all-time biggest man on campus, or I guess you could say the coolest player to ever wear a Texas Tech uniform.
So I think probably the correct answer is Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
But I'm going with a guy that was just legendary at Texas Tech to me, a guy that kind of put Texas Tech on the map, I feel, and then had a really good career in the NFL with the Miami Dolphins. I'm going with Zach Thomas because that dude was just a beast, an undersized guy, but just always made it work somehow. And he's always one of my favorite players that wasn't on any of my teams. So I'm going Zach Thomas.
Now, this guy does bring a lot of big man on campus energy. He was only there for 1 year, and that's Baker Mayfield.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, it's yours, so I'll let you have that. I keep thinking, whenever I think of Texas Tech, I think back to that 2008 game between the top-ranked Texas Longhorns and the Red Raiders with Michael Crabtree. Like 2007, 2008, Michael Crabtree was one of the most dominant players in college football, that being in some of my more formative years. That's what I look back on fondly with the Red Raiders.
Coolness and swag-wise, it probably is Michael Crabtree.
I mean, he didn't do anything in the NFL.
I'm pretty sure Patrick Mahomes walks on campus and he gets whatever he wants.
That's probably true. All right, can win it all playoff, conference championship, respectable or chump for the 2025 Texas Tech Red Raiders?
So I think in actuality, it's respectable. I think their ceiling, though, is conference championship. There's no reason that they couldn't reach a conference championship game in the Big 12 this year and win it.
I'd go one step further and say their ceiling's playoff just because of how wide open the Big 12 is going to be and what all they brought in and are retaining. They've got a lot on paper there that is desirable.
Yeah, if you're winning the conference championship game, or even in this day and age, appearing in the conference championship game, you're likely in the college football playoff. Arizona State won the Big 12 last year, so there's no reason to think that Texas Tech couldn't do it with this Red Raider resurgence on the NIL front. Shayhan Jaraja has done a lot of reporting for CBS Sports on what's going on in Lubbock. We'll get him on in 2 minutes. It's Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
Joining us on this episode are real Spectrum customers, Monique and Greg. We hear your family is a big fan of Spectrum.
Family of 4, we have about 18 devices last time I counted.
2 teams require a lot of speed. Everything they do is online.
There's gaming, there's streaming. Spectrum is perfect for us. I mean, it just seamlessly connects all our devices with lightning speed.
Sounds like Spectrum is really committed to keeping you connected.
It's amazing.
From military life to a rewarding career in IT, kickstart your new journey in a matter of months in the fields of IT and cybersecurity, including AI. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including VA benefits.
Delaware County Veterans Services is ready to help you access VA benefits, emergency financial assistance, dental and medical grants, transportation, and more. Give Delaware County Veterans Services a call, 740-833-2010 to schedule an appointment.
Hey, it's Austin Ward. Just heard Brandon Beam bragging about finally beating me in golf. Cute story. Let's set the record straight. I lost my 50 pounds with a Waken 180 first. Brandon saw my results, heard about my golf game, and thought, hey, I better do that too. Sure, Beam had some decent drives last weekend, but who carried the team when the shots really mattered? If your goal is to walk 18, drop 5 pant sizes, reduce your medications, just do exactly what I did. First, choose the solution for weight loss. Awaken180weightloss.com.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone for Window Nation. Did you know their co-founders are Ohio natives? Yeah, with over 15 years replacing windows in the Columbus region, Window Nation knows what windows work best for Ohio homeowners like you. And right now, you can get 50% off all window styles plus no interest until 2030. That's right, 0 interest for 5 whole years. Even better, you can take advantage of the best deal of the year while getting 1-day installation with Window Nation. Call 866-90-NATION today or visit windownation.com for your free quote.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
If you say something with enough confidence, it must be true. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Yes, you are. Big 12 Media Days start tomorrow at Jera World in Dallas, Texas. And if Arizona State wins the Big 12 in 2024, why not Texas Tech in 2025? And we go out now to the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Shayhan Jaraja from CBS Sports, he's their national college football reporter, joins us now. And Shehan, thank you so much for the time. It was kind of fascinating over the weekend for the general college football fan. Probably hadn't followed, at least in our neck of the woods, hadn't followed what the Red Raiders are doing on the recruiting trail. Certainly, if you've read your reporting on CBS Sports, you kind of know that there's a little bit of a boom going on in West Texas. But with Felix Ojo and him picking the Red Raiders over Texas and Ohio State, got fans going, how did the Red Raiders get here with name, image, and likeness?
Yeah, it's a great question. And something that I really want to emphasize to people is that, yes, it is certainly a story that involves a lot of resource, but more than anything, I'd argue it's a story of preparation. And, so they have this big mega booster named Cody Campbell. He's a young guy, early 40s, played football at Texas Tech under Mike Leach, played the NFL for a little bit. And he went and made his billions, and essentially he saw this as a moment of, you know what, we don't know exactly how the next couple years are going to go, so let's try to maximize essentially our NIL presence right now. And one way that they've done that is through the transfer portal earlier this year. They really want to have a breakout season in 2025 to send a message, but also heading forward too. One thing that they've really done is they have emphasized trench recruiting more than anything else. And this isn't unusual, certainly, but when you start talking about the amount of money that they're investing in those position groups, even compared to the traditional ones of quarterback and wide receiver and all of those, they've really tried to build up an offensive line that's ready for their moment. There was a moment last year where, by the way, Texas Tech hasn't had a quarterback stay healthy through an entire season since 2016, where a fan essentially asked him, will you buy us an offensive line? And Cody Campbell says, I will. And this is kind of the culmination of all of that.
So you mentioned the issues with quarterback and maybe that being offensive line worthy. Is it because Campbell was a former offensive lineman that they're going after the trenches, or have the trenches just been something that the Red Raiders have been behind in here recently?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of everything. But, the biggest reason is that their general manager, James Blanchard, who, by the way, was approached by Notre Dame this offseason, approached by USC this offseason, he had really made it a priority and seen it as a deficiency of the roster over multiple years. I mean, it's been a very long time since they've consistently put out high-level offensive linemen. And last year, frankly, was just not an acceptable group. Even with a great running back, with some talent at the quarterback position, they struggle to protect. And so, they have really emphasized that position group heading into 2025. They added 3 top guys as offensive line transfers through the portal, headlined by Howard Sampson, who was, I believe, the number 2 tackle in the portal, number 12 overall player. So, they really have tried to make this a priority in roster building. And, I got a chance to talk to James a few weeks ago, and he said, look, you can't ignore what the Philadelphia Eagles did, bulldozing their way to the Super Bowl. And yeah, look, you have to have a good quarterback, you have to have good skill position players, but when you have that elite offensive line and that elite pass rush, it gives you an opportunity to really get to build around the rest of the roster.
Shayhan Jaraja is our guest. He's a national college football reporter at CBS Sports. Go read his stuff on just the Red Raider revival for Texas Tech and what they've been doing in the transfer portal and how they're building a roster to compete now with college football. The fact that Shehan, Kurt Signetti's calling him out for having a $35-40 million roster along with Ohio State, along with Texas, along with Oregon is kind of an amazing spot for the Red Raiders to be in. What's the return on investment look like for this team in 2025? Like the year one, the best case scenario for Texas Tech, do you think would be?
Yeah, well, it's a great question. And so I think that from my perspective, it's kind of funny. I've covered Texas Tech for more than 10 years at this point around the state of Texas. And I think that people pulling them into national conversations is a little funny because for them, their answer is, we want to be in Arlington. We want to be in Arlington. We want to be in Arlington. They want to play for a Big 12 championship. They want to have the chance to win a Big 12 championship. They haven't won an outright conference championship since 1955. They haven't won a split conference championship since 1993. So, look, they want to be in the playoffs, certainly. They want to have the chance to win some games. But, their goal, more than anything else, is to just be right there with a chance to win a conference championship. There's an understanding that, especially in 16-team leagues where the ball bounces a certain way and you might have to resort to tiebreakers, if they're right on the edge of it and just get beat out by a tiebreaker, they're not going to feel like it was a failure. But they have the best roster in the Big 12 heading into 2025. I don't think there's a whole lot of doubt about it. So their goal is they want to be in Arlington. They want to have a chance to win the Big 12. They want to have a chance to go to the college football playoff. And they really, more than anything else, want to establish themselves as one of these teams in the Big 12 that can be a year in, year out power. I got a chance to talk to Joey McGuire, their head coach, who's a former high school coach who was coaching high schools, by the way, less than 10 years ago. And one thing that he told me was in 2006, he had a team at Cedar Hill High School outside of Fort Worth that had never won a high school playoff game. And they go 16-0, win the state championship that year. And that moment changed a whole lot about how people approach that program, both internally and externally. That's their goal with the 2025 Texas Tech football team.
Shehan, I love that you mentioned Joey McGuire there because I'll be honest, I didn't know that Joey McGuire was the head coach of Texas Tech. And you mentioned his fast rise here from high school to being the head coach. He's entering his 4th season, 23-16 so far in Lubbock. How do the people in Texas feel about Joey McGuire, and what kind of coach is he?
Well, he's somebody who is unapologetic, unafraid. It's funny, their former coach, he got himself into some trouble ultimately because he kind of struggled to express what he loved about Lubbock. And Joey McGuire, on day one of having the job, said, I am going to die in Lubbock. I'm going to be here until the day I die. And for them, I think that's been such a huge driver. They want somebody who's willing to speak up for the community, who's willing to speak up for the university, who's willing to fight for his players. And I think that because at times he's been so loud in the Big 12, people underrate what he's accomplished there. He's actually the first coach at Texas Tech to have 3 straight winning conference records since the Southwest Conference folded in 1995. He's the first coach to go to back-to-back bowl games, or to win back-to-back bowl games, rather, since Mike Leach in 2007. And so the pieces have been coming. They really wouldn't have invested the way that they did if they didn't feel like they had the coach who would be able to maximize it. And you go around campus, you talk to any player there, they say that a big part of the reason I'm here, yes, obviously, they offered good money, but I believe in this coaching staff and I believe in Joey McGuire.
You need a coach, you need a collective, but you also need a quarterback. That's something that's been known forever. Baron Morton in his probably third season starting for the Red Raiders. What kind of a quarterback is he, and what are expectations for him?
Yeah, he's an interesting one. He was a top 150 recruit coming out from Eastland, Texas, which is out there in West Texas. And, he is somebody that the staff has invested a lot into over the course of multiple years. And I would argue the past 2 years especially, too much has been asked of him. And I don't know that he's necessarily had the protection to be a great quarterback. So, look, here's the thing. I mentioned, right, I make the Philadelphia Eagles comparison in terms of building in the trenches. Like, he is not going to be a Heisman contender. He probably is not going to be an all Big 12 quarterback, but they believe that especially with better protection and with a strong run game and a strong defense, he's going to be able to be an above average game manager, to be able to put them in a position to compete with the best teams in college football. And so, again, for him, he's got to cut down on mistakes. He was a high interception quarterback last year. He made mistakes, but he's going to have more around him than he's had since he was a high school player. I think that they really expect him to be able to take that next step.
Talk a little bit about the quarterback, Morton there. Who are a couple other guys that we should be paying attention to on this Texas Tech roster this season?
Well, they had a bottom 10 defense last year, and especially were bad against the pass. And in order to fill that, they aggressively added pass rushers. The two who really come to mind, Romello Height coming from Georgia Tech, and David Bailey was the biggest swing of the bunch coming over from Stanford. He's a former borderline 5-star recruit. He's a potential first-round NFL draft pick. He is somebody who they are very, very excited about and who they think has the potential to be an All-America type player. Jacob Rodriguez was a fantastic linebacker for them as well last year on a bad defense, just tremendously productive. And they, again, think that he's going to be able to continue that this year. And on offense, they added a transfer in Reggie Virgil at wide receiver, who is one of the top sort of downfield threats last year in the group of five. They think that he's going to be able to come in and really add a lot to that room as well. So, again, they plan to be a team that is more defensive-led than they've been in years past. That's really Joey McGuire's MO, despite being at Texas Tech, and they feel like they have all the pieces in place to make it happen.
This will be a fascinating season, and I think that means this will be a lot of fun for Texas Tech and for the Big 12 and for all of us college football fans. He is CBS Sports national college football reporter. Shayhan Jaraja joins us courtesy of the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Shayhan, this was a lot of fun. Thank you so much for taking the time with us this morning. Hope to catch up with you sometime as the season gets going. All right, bud?
Most definitely. Thank you so much for having me.
Again, if Arizona State can win it one year, why the heck can't Texas Tech? So that was great from Shehan. And again, our 20th is to start our 20 most interesting college football programs. We will do three things on a Monday. Next, Bishop and Friends on the Fan.
A lot of hosts have been on our airways in the past 30 years. Some good, some bad, some really bad. Anyway, sorry for that. The Fan.
When you speed, you have less time to react. Follow the speed limit to keep other road users safe. Speeding catches up with you. Paid for by NHTSA.
The big one is back. The Good Guys 27th Summit Racing Nationals presented by PPG. All this weekend at the Ohio Expo Center in Columbus. Over 6,000 of the nation's baddest hot rods, muscle cars, and trick trucks. Don't miss Good Guys autocross racing action. A tire-smoking burnout competition. A pro street takeover. Earth-shaking nitro thunderfest. Meet the top builders in the industry and more. All this weekend at the Ohio Expo Center. Details at good-guys.com.
Listen to Financially Fit Radio with Corey Sickles this Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on 1460 ESPN, covering topics like what you need to know about annuities and how to stay healthy and enjoy retirement. Financially Fit Radio this Saturday at 9 a.m. on 1460 ESPN.
You found the one, now find the ring. Hi, it's Alex Johnson from the Diamond Cellar. On July 25th and 26th, Wedding Weekend is back with event-exclusive pricing for 2 days only. Celebrate with buy one, get one half off wedding bands, 20% off diamond anniversary bands, and 10% off handcrafted custom bridal. It's the perfect time to upgrade, personalize, or say yes for the first time. Join us July 25th and 26th on Selma Road or at Easton Town Center.
At Metal Supermarkets, we're all about getting you and your crew to quit in time sooner. That's why our service is a cut above. You see, no matter the project, we'll get you to the right metal, shape, and grade. Cut to any size, ready real fast. And yeah, we'll deliver. leaving plenty of time for the important things, like opening an ice-cold can of aluminum. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience store for metal.
Your bathroom's got to go, the vanity's decayed, and toilet's really old. The bathtub's giving way, give Bath R Us a ring. Call morning, noon, or night. You do not have to wait to get your bathroom right.
Call Baths R Us for your free estimate and enter to win our Christmas in July $12,500 bathroom remodel with an additional savings of up to $3,000 plus low to no monthly payments. 380-225-2284. Baths R Us, where dreams soak in.
Sometimes I hear a sparkling sound.
Like when we say, all you have to do is point?
There it is.
That's the sound of magic happening.
Magic like we can come the day you call us? Wow.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. Summer's heating up, and so are the deals at Germain Toyota of Columbus. Whether you're cruising to the lake or hauling your weekend gear, Germain, well, they've got the truck to help you get it done. Right now, get 2.99 APR for up to 72 months on the rugged 2024 Tacoma, or step up to the powerful 2025 Tundra, also 2.99 for 72 months. These summer savings, they won't last forever. So visit Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road, or online at germaintoyota.net.
Morning Juice is live on YouTube. Weekday mornings starting at 6. Or on demand whenever you want it. Yeah, whenever. Bobby Carpenter's at your beck and call. And Tito's there too, to clean the toilets. Head to YouTube and subscribe today.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm going to have to find a new genius. Or two half geniuses and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Dick's Deal Days are happening now. You won't want to miss our biggest sale of the summer. Scorecard members earn a $20 bonus reward on your purchase of $150 or more. Plus, 3 days of amazing savings start Tuesday. Check out offers from brands like Nike, Adidas, Hoka, and Stanley. And check back daily for new one-day deals Tuesday through Thursday. Score the season's hottest savings before they're gone on July 10th. Shop in the app and on Dicks.com. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Want to know anything about the Fans contest, how to win, or what's up for grabs? Check out 971thefan.com. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
With friends like these, who needs former college football players? This is Bishop and Friends.
Our thanks to Shayhan Jaraja from CBS Sports. He's their national college football reporter, for joining us in that last segment to talk about Texas Tech and the Red Raider resurgence. I had misspoken earlier in the show about the over-under win totals for Texas Tech this season. Circa Sports has them at 8.5. And again, I think with their cake schedule, they should be able to go 9 wins. But that's a pretty good over-under total to have them at, because there's so much unknown about Texas Tech and just the roster turnover that Shehan talked about. If you missed his interview, we had Austin Ward on earlier in the program. Wherever you get your podcasts, at 971BFS, as well on X, and then on YouTube. Everything we have on The Fan is playbackable. For the Daily Fan Poll, it asks, which of the 3 head football coaching hires that Ohio State has made this century do you think is the best one? Jim Tressel, Urban Meyer, Ryan Day are your options, which again is nuts that in the last century.
That's so difficult,
on your
right?
list, right?
Listen, I'll always hold a special place in my heart for Jim Tressel, but I think the correct answer is probably Urban Meyer.
Yes.
Because he kind of changed the game, right? And made it the best players here, no matter where they're from. And you probably don't have Ryan Day here without Urban Meyer. So Urban Meyer is the correct answer.
56% of respondents agree with you. 35% say the Lieutenant Governor of the state of Ohio, Jim Tressel. And then 7% say Ryan Day. All 3 with a national championship. And certainly Ryan Day has time and very much opportunity to create more of a legacy. But the 3, no doubt, Hall of Fame head coaches there.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3 things
Sponsored by Buckeye Lake Marina, Central Ohio's largest selection of new and pre-owned boats. Find your next dream boat at BuckeyeLakeMarina.com.
I'm constantly moving during the show, whether it's standing up or rocking or scrolling or researching. And I found at the most recent Triple Option podcast, Urban Meyer and the gang had Jim Nagy on, who was with the Senior Bowl forever. He is Oklahoma's general manager. Like every football team will or should already have a general manager going into the 2025 season, which is bonkers. But a school came to him and offered him their GM job. Now, he doesn't say which school it was, but this quote from Urban, I thought, I'd rather step on a rusty nail and pull it out myself. Which, yeah, I get that. From a lot of guys been like, no, I'd rather literally do anything else than be a GM of a football program, because basically the school told him you meet with the agents of the 17 and 18-year-olds. Urban? Yeah. Nick Saban? Yeah. No thanks on having to do that.
Listen, is this any surprise? Because Urban Meyer literally had Mark Pantoni as a GM before a GM was a thing.
He was one of the first.
Yep. Urban didn't want to do that stuff then. Why is he going to want to do it now? My first thing, you mentioned Oklahoma there. It came out today that Joe Castiglione, the Oklahoma AD, he's entering his 28th season as the AD at Oklahoma. He has informed the school that he will be retiring during this school year. And with the changes in college athletics and how college athletics has become more pro sports here recently, I wonder if we're going to have guys like Mr. Castiglione anymore that spend 28 years at one job, whether that be head coaches, ADs, GMs, any of that. I'm not so sure that we will ever see a run like that again in major college athletics. And that's pretty impressive. 28 years as the AD at Oklahoma.
All right, first thing for me, and this is probably going to show the sicko in me that I am of college basketball, but for the last week and a half, definitely over the weekend, I have been locked into the FIBA U19 World Cup. Just checking out what's coming into college basketball next season. The United States beat Germany yesterday in the gold medal game, 109-76. And it just got me so excited to see in this tournament not what's returning to college basketball, because we already know that it's going to be loaded and it's going to be a ton of fun there, but also the talent coming in is just going to make it even better.
That'll be my second thing. We don't know that college basketball is going to be loaded. You're the only sicko of the bunch. So starting at noon on July 7th, banned. I'm talking college basketball, banned. I'm putting the hammer down unless, and the caveat I'll make is unless anything happens regarding Ohio State.
Okay.
Everything else now, Jacob Reimer, it's college football season. We're in it. Banned.
It's going to be all over my Twitter, so I apologize in advance.
Yeah. What I goofed on your Twitter handle earlier. It's RHYMETIME08.
It's time. Like
time.
Yeah.
But not TYME.
No.
Well, I'm an idiot. So go follow him there for all your college basketball content, you sickos. I know you're out there.
I saw that earlier. I was like, why isn't he blue?
I messed it up.
I'm not sure what's going on.
20 things.
My second thing, over the weekend, I saw a lot of people complaining about fireworks. Like, it's the 4th of July weekend. Let's let people have our fireworks. I understand it's loud and maybe it wakes your kids up or your dog doesn't like it, but it's the 4th of July. Like, if fireworks are still going off this Thursday, all right, you can complain about them. And if fireworks are going off at 3 in the morning, that's a curfew issue. Hopefully the cops are dealing with that and taking care of it. Quit complaining about the fireworks on 4th of July weekend. It's on a Friday. We get Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Now, like I said, if they're still going off Wednesday, I'll hear your complaints. But this past weekend, zip it. I don't want to hear them.
I'm right there with you. I was hearing them late last night, but I'm like, hey, it's still the weekend, still 4th of July weekend. We can get through it this time. Second thing for me, I am finally understanding what it takes to be a good homeowner. And over the weekend, I was just doing nothing but yard work. All Saturday afternoon, I was weeding around the house, pulling up weeds from everywhere. Yesterday, I mowed. And today, I'm going to go home and do some edging. Get into that.
It sounds terrible in the heat.
Yeah, hydrate. Please hydrate.
Absolutely.
Final thing for me, I missed this earlier in the program, but Jeff chimed in early in the YouTube chat. Hey, Reeser, I don't want to get you in trouble with Bo again on baseball, but I miss Tito. The Reds' record might not be much better, but they don't play fundamental baseball anymore under Stephen Vogt. Jeff, I ask, I didn't get in trouble last week because we didn't talk baseball. So there's nothing to get in trouble about. And to anybody out there who might be thinking of sending Bo an email, don't you snitch. Also, Jeff, yeah, I miss Tito, but it felt like he needed to get his health right before he could come back to managing again. And it was never right with Cleveland after 2018.
I know nothing. I know nothing.
Baseball is not a conversation we have on this show. Thank you, Jeff.
Second thing for me, I mentioned I went yesterday after the show and picked up the Phil Steele College Football magazine, which is kind of like a Bible for the college football season. And it made me realize, I kind of miss, magazines and stuff like that. Like Sports Illustrated is mostly online now. I feel like The Athletic is like the ultimate sports magazine, but it's online. Reese, you see me here. I've got a piece. I always had the show sheet. I print it out because I like having stuff in my hand that I could write notes on and scratch off and whatnot. And it's just kind of weird how things have changed. Like magazines and newspapers and things like that used to be such a part of our lives, and they're not anymore. And it's kind of sad to me.
Third thing for me coming up on Rothman and Ice here after us, DeVere is in for AR, and they will get on all of the recruiting news that came in over the weekend with Brandon Huffman from 24/7 Sports.
Colorado, our next school in the 20 most interesting programs. We'll do that tomorrow at 11 o'clock. We'll be live starting at 9 a.m. Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
If the sound of another man slammed against plexiglass turns you on, you've come to the right place. Proud to be your home for Jackets hockey. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Hey friends, Beamer here. Looking back at my Awaken 180 goals, and very deep on the list was to beat my guy Austin Ward at golf. Well, played in the Marysville Marathon with him on Saturday, and let's just say mission accomplished. The biggest part, though, I wasn't lugging around those extra 75 pounds in that brutal heat while playing 36 holes. That was the real difference. I felt my stamina was way better. I'm not saying you're going to be a scratch golfer after losing the weight, but if your Awaken 180 results are like mine, you'll be able to crush Austin too. Online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Newman Roofing, as part of their 2025 Commitment to Community initiative, is proud to sponsor The Fan and 10 TV's Beat the Heat fan drive, benefiting Life Care Alliance. You can help Ohio's most vulnerable residents deal with the extreme heat this summer. How can you help? Purchase new box fans and bring them to the nearest Franklin County Fire Station, or you can buy online and ship fans directly to Life Care Alliance. The collection and distribution of fans is to assist residents who are at risk of heat stroke or heat exhaustion. For more information, go to lifecarealliance.org.
Hey, is that knee, shoulder, hip, that pain in any of your joints not getting better? You're stuck in this cycle where you keep going back to the doctor. They recommend steroid shots. Maybe they recommend surgery, rehab, and all of those things are not working for you. Before you go down the road of the surgery, you'll want to listen to this. Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. I want to tell you something that helped me a ton, and it'll help a lot of other people get their lives back as well. And this is no more meds and not going under the knife. I'm talking about my friends at QC Kinetics, Real Regenerative Medicine. They help your body heal itself. After years of playing professional football, I was beat up. My dad was beat up. I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to have any more surgery. So I went to my friends at QC Kinetics, and they took a look at it, and they said, hey, we can help you with your knee. It's not going to be an overnight fix, but they've got protocols and procedures to help get you well without going under the knife. So here's what you do. Call 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. They have offices all over Columbus.
This radio commercial was made to convince you to stop speeding. We can't use law enforcement siren sound effects on the radio, so we'll use other equally jarring sound effects to get your attention, like telling you if you get a speeding ticket, it doesn't end there. You have to pay expensive fines. You can't go to your friend's wedding because that also costs money. And your insurance rates could increase. See? We didn't have to use law enforcement sirens after all. Getting a speeding ticket has consequences. Sooner or later, speeding catches up with you. Brought to you by NHTSA.
Did you know even the smallest increase in mortgage rates can cost you thousands of dollars over the life of your loan? Hi, I'm Mark Stefanski, Chairman and CEO of Third Federal. It's true, even a 0.25% change in rate can cost you thousands of dollars over the life of your mortgage. But with Third Federal's new Early Rate Lock, you don't have to take chances. Early Rate Lock is the only pre-approval that locks in your rate at pre-approval, even before you find a house. Plus, we're so confident that our rates are the lowest, if you find a lower rate, we'll beat it or give you $1,000. And for a limited time, get pre-approved with Third Federal and we'll pay all of your closing costs. So don't wait. Call Third Federal today.
Right now at Third Federal, even before you find a home, lock in 6.44% APR 6.47% on a 30-year fixed-rate purchase mortgage. Visit thirdfederal.com or call 1-800-3RD-FED today. APR reflects 15% down for $350,000 loan amount. Rate requires automatic payment program and is subject to change. Restrictions apply. Zero closing costs on low-cost loans only. See conditions for lowest rate guarantee at thirdfederal.com. Equal housing lender.
Let me ask you something. Is your money doing everything it can for you?
I don't know. How would I know?
Is it automatically saving for special events and keeping you posted on its progress? Like at Huntington Bank?
Oh, no.
Is it tracking your spending so you can make the best choices at the mall?
Nope.
Or setting limits on your teenager's debit card?
Definitely not.
Then it could certainly be doing more.
Yeah, sure sounds like it.
Let's get more from money. Switch to Huntington Bank. Welcome. Eligibility requirements apply. Some features may require enrollment.
Rita, Jorge, let's bring the nail gun over here.
Jose stands tall atop his sustainable flooring company.
Totally. It's renewable and moisture resistant, but we have several green options too. Or we got some beautiful reclaimed oak.
But floored by his success, he needs to hire more installers.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Adam Schefter here for Vivid Seats, your ultimate destination for all your sports and concert needs this summer. With a game-changing rewards program and an unbeatable selection of tickets, they make it easy for every fan to watch their favorite teams and players in action. Catch every home run and thrilling comeback in person from your favorite seat. Plus, every ticket is backed by a 100% buyer guarantee, giving you peace of mind with every purchase. Visit VividSeats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats.